kids and babies with COVID. So not only does she put her life on the line, she also...
The National Weather Service in Greenville-Spartanburg has issued a tornado warning for southeastern Transylvania County in western North Carolina, southeastern Henderson County in western North Carolina, southwestern Polk County in western North Carolina, northern Greenville County in upstate South Carolina, northwestern Spartanburg County in upstate South Carolina, northern Pickens County in upstate South Carolina, until 3:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. At 2:40 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located 10 miles north of Pickens, or near Table Rock State Park, moving east at 40 miles per hour. Hazard, tornado. Source, radar indicated rotation. Impact, flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows, and vehicles will occur. Tree damage is likely. This dangerous storm will be near Jones Gap State Park and Caesars Head State Park around 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Pleasant Ridge State Park, Tigerville, Slater, Marietta, and Travelers Rest around 3:10 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Lake Robinson around 3:20 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Campobello, Lanram, and Tryon around 3:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Other locations impacted by this dangerous thunderstorm include Sunset, Gowinsville, Pumpkintown, North Saluda Reservoir, and Glassy Mountain. Take cover now. Move to a basement or an interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy building. Avoid windows. If you are outdoors, in a mobile home, or in a vehicle, move to the closest substantial shelter and protect yourself from flying debris. A brief, weak tornado is likely.
Sturdy building and stay there until this line can pass on through. You do not want to be driving through this. A school is a safe building to be at. It's a sound structure. You need to be staying put in this storm where there is an active tornado warning here across parts of Pickens, Greenville, and Spartanburg County. Let's get back to our radar. I can show you where that line is. You see that notch right in there. That's where the concern is here across parts of Pickens County, moving up toward the north here toward Dunn's Rock into North Carolina. Now this is pushing off toward the east at about 40 miles per hour. So this active tornado warning includes Pickens County, Greenville County, and Spartanburg County. So if it continues on its same path, it'll be moving into these areas. And this is all part of a line that's moving through our area. Let's look at the Greenville Skycam as we're looking off toward this. Looks like that one is down right now. We'll get that one reset, but you get the picture here. This line is pushing toward the east. So downtown Greenville, northbound, you need to be on alert here. You need to be seeking shelter right now here across northern Pickens County. Let's zoom in. We'll get a closer look at your town where the more concerning areas are here across parts of Pickens County and Greenville County. We're watching this closely here across these areas. Highway 178 right now, where it meets Highway 11, appears to be the most concerning spot right now as to where that would be. Let's put a new storm track on this. We'll let you know where it's heading. Pulling up my tools right here, 178 to Highway 11. Watching this closely, getting in closer. It'll be near Orleano Noy State Park, Newtown School, Pumpkintown, Marietta Baptist Camp and Conference Center right in there. We'll have to watch this area very, very closely within the next 10 or 15 minutes. If you're near any of those areas, you need to be seeking shelter, getting to your safe place. This kind of rides right along the line. You may see at the top of the screen here that Henderson and Transylvania counties are in the warning. It's really for this activity just south of the state line. Right in here is the most dangerous part. And if it continues, it will indeed head toward Travelers Rest. You need to be seeking shelter there. If you know anybody that might be, traveling in this, it's a popular time of the day to be out and about, a busy time of the day. I get it. School pickup lines. You need to kind of hang out there. I know they're probably bringing the kids back in. It is not wise to be traveling right now in northern Pickens County, northern Greenville County, and northern Spartanburg County. We'll need to watch that closely there. This warning goes until 3:30, and it's for this notch right in here. Got some very strong winds. There's Highway 178 going toward the north. There's Highway 11 where the two meet, is where we're seeing the potential for some rotation in this activity as it moves on through the area. Putting a fresh track on here. Let's time it out here to Greenville County, putting into Travelers Rest at about 3:20. It'll be near the North Greenville Hospital System there at about 3:19. Highway 25, Travelers Rest High School, State Park Road near the Walmart right there on 25, going north into Greenville, northern Greenville County right there at about 3:15, 3:30. Slater Marietta just before that, and then Pumpkintown within the next 10 minutes or so. Let's get a fresh look at live Super Doppler 4 HD, showing us that line right there, giving us the strongest winds as it's moving on through. As it is continuing to move on through, we've got a very strong couplet right here with some very gusty winds right in this area. And that's the concern as we're moving on through. As I look specifically at the wind speeds right now, you can see right in here is where this line is kind of outrunning the other part of it. Now, our Doppler radar sits just south of here in a great location to kind of scan this area right in there. It's that push of wind that could be giving us a spin-up tornado, at the very least, some extremely strong winds. And you can see this line here as we get an instant look at where it's at. It's pushing off toward the east, now just past the Highway 178, Highway 11 intersection. This is following right along Highway 11 right here, and it's heading toward Travelers Rest. Slater Marietta, you need to be in your safe spot right now. Tigerville, then eventually Greer and Taylor's, heading into the 3:30 time frame is when that would be heading towards your neck of the woods. As we look closer at the radar right now, a fresh look at where this storm is. Again, Highway 178 going north into Pickens County. There's Travelers Rest. There is Tigerville. We've got this storm that is quite strong across the area. Let me pull out just a little bit and show you where we're at right now across the upstate. This is the only warning that we're seeing right now, but it is part of a strong line that could at any time have some rotation. So let's look at what things are looking like. And sure enough, right there, you just saw it happen live on Live Super Doppler 4 HD, a brand new tornado warning that does include, it's right on the border of Stevens County, I should say Hart County and Franklin County, right here along the I-85 corridor. So now two areas with some rotation, one in Pickens County, and then the other one here that's heading towards you folks in Franklin County and Hart County. I want you to go ahead and get to your safe place in Hart County and southern Franklin County, right along the I-85 corridor. This does include you folks along Lake Hartwell and Livonia, area south of there toward Hartwell. You need to be getting into your safe place. We're going to be watching this storm as it rolls into Anderson County, Clemson southbound, right along the I-85 corridor. So now two areas of concern, two active tornado warnings right here along the I-85 corridor, and then one in northern Greenville County. So let's get back to radar. I'll pull up my tools right now. We'll show you where we're talking about. This line right here is the concern. It's a strong line that is pushing on through, that part of that line is outrunning the other part of it. That gives us the rotation. It could drop down a tornado. At the very least, we've got some very strong and dangerous winds that are in this, and we need to be watching this closely here. So let's get in and analyze the storm in Greenville and Pickens and in Spartanburg counties. All right, there is Greer. There is Lake Robinson. So Lake Robinson, you're right on the southern part of this. Travelers Rest, you're in that tornado warning. Parts of Taylor's, especially northern part, North Greenville University, up toward Glassy Mountain points westbound. You are included in this tornado warning here that goes until 3:30. Watching it closely here, some very strong winds right here across Pickens County, just north of downtown Pickens. Easily, you're just outside of the warning area. Want you to be on guard, but you're not necessarily in the most dangerous area. Be ready to go to your safe place. But right now, I think you're just out of the danger zone right now. Where I do see danger, Travelers Rest, Tigerville, northern Greer, northern Taylor's, and then getting into Lyman, Inman, and parts of Spartanburg County there going up the I-26 corridor. So putting a fresh track on this, we'll get an update from our storm tracker, which times out these storms minute by minute, gives us that instant look at where the storms could be. Mountain Lake Colony, Slater, Travelers Rest by about 3:16. So it looks like it sped up by just a hair here. The last estimate had it in TR at about 3:20. Now we're talking about closer to 3:15. My concern right now, folks, to be honest with you, is the fact that this is school pickup time. Many are in those car lines. Many are on their way to pick up kids. Many are on their way home from picking up kids. So you want to get on the phone and give them a call right now. Let them know that this dangerous weather is rolling through the area here in a very populated area of Pickens and Greenville County. All right, so we're watching this closely as it moves on through the area. Very strong winds right in here. As we look closer at what's going on, I'm going to turn on the radar right here and bring up one of our other tools. We're able to see what's going on inside of these storms with our cameras here. Here is our Peace Center Sky Cam. We've got the low clouds. We've got the rain from time to time. You are just south of where this line is here in downtown. It's just north of there, northwest of where that line is going to be coming through. So what we have going on right now is temperatures that are warming up across the area. That warm front is lifting north, opening the door to some more dangerous air, some very humid and unstable air. Temperatures are warming up. That is conducive for the potential of some tornadic activity as we have a tremendous amount of wind energy in the atmosphere. So our concern right here across Pickens County, Greenville County and Spartanburg County. If you're just now tuning in, a tornado warning has been issued for these areas. That means that an active tornado is possibly on the ground right now. It has not been spotted, but it is radar indicated, meaning that there is the potential that it's there, and you need to be getting to your safe place in the event that this does move on through. If you're traveling right now, you need to be pulling over, getting to a safe spot, a sturdy structure. If you're near a friend's house, you want to be off the road in this type of situation, okay? What you need to be doing is staying put, too. You don't need to be traveling in this kind of weather, as an active tornado warning is in place for Pickens County, Greenville County, and Spartanburg County until 3:30. This line is moving through at about 40 miles per hour. So imagine as a car travels, we've still got about 30 minutes or so as it moves on through. And right in there appears to be the most dangerous of the line. Let's get an analysis with this on our wind speeds. Live Super Doppler 4 HD, our very own radar. Now, the velocity takes about another scan or two later, so we'll get that one here in a moment. First, the radar comes in, and then another scan later, we'll get the wind speeds that come in. That's the way the radar works, gives us that instant look. That's the real advantage here, is to have this instantly to track these storms minute by minute with no delay as to where this is going. Okay, here we go, getting a fresh track here from both the radars as to where these winds are as it comes on through the area. There's Travelers Rest, there's Greenville, and there's that couplet right in there. Some very strong winds. I'm going to zoom in to where this is the strongest right now, as it looks like it's crossing now into Greenville County. All right, so I want to put you folks on alert here in Greenville County near Slater, near Tigerville, just north of Travelers Rest. There's Highway 101, there's Lake Robinson, there's Highway 14. You need to be getting to your safe place right now. This is knocking on the door here in Greenville County. And we do now have a tornado warning, which includes Elbert, Franklin, and Hart County. Possible tornado now located southwest of Carnesville. So 2 active tornado warnings across the area. I'm going to zoom out right here across the upstate and show you where we're talking about with this second warning. This is one we talked about just a moment ago, as Live Super Doppler 4 HD picked up on that early indication of some rotation. Our radar in a great spot to see both of these storms. We have 2 active tornado warnings in place right now for the upstate and in northeast Georgia. So Hart County, Elbert County, I went ahead and told you to get to your safe place. You need to stay there. Be getting on the phone right now and give your folks a call right now. Getting some word here from northeast Georgia that the emergency manager in Banks County, which is 1 county over here from parts of Franklin and Hart County, possibly a tornado on the ground with this one, okay? So not confirmed just yet, but the emergency manager possibly seeing that it has, they have seen sights of at least a funnel cloud out of this activity in parts of northeast Georgia. And if this were to continue on its same path as I turn on radar, it would be moving toward Anderson County. So we need to put you folks on alert. A possible tornado right here just south of I-85. The emergency manager there indicating that is a potential. We're still waiting to receive word if there is damage back toward Banks County, but this does look like a dangerous storm right here approaching Franklin County and Hart County in northeast Georgia. So downtown Hartwell, Livonia, you need to be getting to your safe place. And folks, anybody in the upstate traveling south on 85, you do not need to do that. It is not a time to be traveling right now. We have our Anderson Skycam over Lake Hartwell strategically placed in an ability to see the storms coming out of North Georgia here. So we're going to check in with that one here as it moves on through. We'll have to check back in a minute. It appears that one is down. Again, we've got, there it is. All right, we're getting an eye of the storm looking off toward Georgia, still a little bit of ways away from Lake Hartwell right there, as it sits right there just north of where the most volatile rotation is. So looking at this, we've got 2 active warnings, one in northern Greenville County, one in Hart County. Hartwell especially, and this one has had a report of possibly a funnel cloud here. We have not received damage reports out of this activity in Pickens County heading toward Greenville County. That too is a dangerous storm. We've got the potential of some rotation in that activity, but this one right here, looking at it in northeast Georgia, that one is the most concerning to me at the moment. It does have that look of the hook. It is certainly rotating right in here, and there has been some reports back here toward Bank County, just south of Commerce, of a potential tornado on the ground. So it's got that classic look with the hook right in here, the hail core off toward the north, and this is an extremely dangerous storm. I need to let you folks know that this one is heading toward the north here, and this is a potential tornado in Franklin County, heading toward Hart County. So you need to be in your safe spot. This potential tornado could be in Sandy Cross by 3:04, Royston by 3:15, Bowersville by 3:18, and then Hartwell by 3:31. So this activity is rotating up and down the line. This is moving through at a very unstable time of the day. We had that rain earlier this morning. That was part of a warm front that lifted north that opened the door for more warm and unstable air. And there's a tremendous amount of wind energy in the atmosphere with this outbreak that's going on back toward the west. Multiple tornado warnings now in place for Alabama and Mississippi, and here we are on the leading edge of this, kind of away from the highest risk, but still seeing 2 active tornado warnings with a potential tornado right now over Carnesville, parts of Georgia here. I want to turn on our winds as we can access both our Doppler radar and the Atlanta Metro radar there in Peachtree City. Right in here in southern Franklin County appears to be the most concerning area as this wind and this possible tornado is moving into southern Franklin County and parts of Hart County. So that is a tornado warning that is active right now. Let's see what the latest is with this one as it continues here from the National Weather Service, getting an update here from them. 3:45. This warning goes until 3:45 across Hart and Franklin County. Let's zoom out a bit as we look out toward the upstate. We've also got this active tornado warning here across Greenville County. Not liking the looks of this wind across these areas. Some rotation kicking up in this line as it moves out of Pickens County. So let's turn on live Super Doppler 4 HD closely here as we look at what's going on across Pickens County and northern Greenville County. You need to be getting to your safe place right now as we zoom on in here to this first warning that was issued about 20 minutes ago. You need to be getting to your safe place here as it's moving into northern Greenville County. What that means is get to an interior part of your home. Do not travel in this. I know it's an active time of day. You've got things to do, kids to pick up. You need to be staying safe and not traveling in this activity. Look at this in northern Greenville County. This is the line that possibly has some rotation in it and the potential for an active tornado warning. So giving you a fresh track on this activity because we just got a new scan in from Live Super Doppler 4 HD. This is moving toward the east here. So Slater and Marietta at 3:07. By my watch, that'll be there in about 6 minutes. Cross Plains 3:11. Travelers Rest just a little bit earlier now. 3:15 near the hospital near Travelers Rest University, okay? Or University High School. All right, Landrum 3:29. So this is moving quickly toward the east at about 40 miles per hour, and the potential rotation is right in here. That's where the concern lies as we analyze this closely with our wind speeds, kind of an inside look at what's going on with this. Here is where the wind is kind of extending out ahead of the storm, and that possible rotation here is moving through and moving toward Travelers Rest, especially Travelers Rest northbound on 25. So there's Lake Robinson, there's Taylors, there's Greer, this area in northern Greenville County. You need to be seeking shelter right now, a dangerous situation, and we have another dangerous situation going on right now across parts of northeast Georgia, and this has had a history of producing a funnel cloud. We have had a report of a funnel cloud in Banks County, one county over from this, and this is the most concerning look that we have right now, the tail end of this storm. This line that's moving on through the area right in there, and that continues to look the most dangerous here across parts of Franklin County. A possible tornado right here. That is a very dangerous look on Live Super Doppler 4 HD. You've got that hook right in here. We're going to zoom into this activity, a potential tornado on the ground right now in Franklin County, Georgia. This would be heading into Hart County and then eventually Anderson County. So you are not under an active alert right now in Anderson County, but I'm going ahead and telling you right now, you need to be getting to your safe place. You need to be getting to where you're going to go. You do not need to be traveling as this line is moving off toward the east. Watching that closely, I'm going to put it in a loop here as we're watching it. Yeah, look at that tighten up right in there. Yeah, this is a possible tornado, folks. This one really concerns me here across Franklin County. South of Carnesville right there, south of 85. And this is heading toward Hart County. This is heading toward Anderson County. You're not under the warning right now in Anderson County, but you likely will if this storm continues to stay the strength that it is right now. And at this pace, it would be heading toward Lake Hartwell and downtown Anderson. All right, so getting a new update in here. We got this dangerous storm. I'm going to give you a storm track on this one. Let's go ahead and put a storm track on this part that's the most dangerous in parts of Franklin County, giving you an early heads up here at where it's going to go in this warning area. Cannon, Royston, Reed Creek, and Hartwell, all within the next 15 to 20 minutes, you're going to be seeing that potential tornado moving your way. We have had a history back toward Banks County of a funnel cloud, a possible tornado. And this is giving me a look right here that really concerns me. A possible tornado right there in southern Franklin County in Georgia. There's I-85, there's that potential tornado, and it's moving toward Hart County and eventually Lake Hartwell and then eventually Anderson right here. Let's get up into northern Greenville County. Just got an update here from the National Weather Service. Yep, they are continuing this warning. Pickens County, you are now out of the danger zone. You can come out of your safe place in Pickens County, but cautiously. There is still a tremendous amount of heavy rain and lightning going on right now across Pickens County. You do not need to be traveling just yet, but you can come out of your safe place, check on the loved ones there. The warning and the concern area still is over Greenville County, and they are continuing this warning here until 3:30. The potential tornado is now located 14 miles southeast of Brevard, near Pleasant Ridge State Park, and it's moving east at about 40 miles per hour. So let's get in closely right here into northern Greenville County. That continues to be the most dangerous area of this. As it moves into parts of Spartanburg County right in here, this potential tornado would be on the ground right here. So the northern part of Greenville County is where I'm the most concerned about this activity as it moves on through the area here. Let's just turn on some of our tools here to see kind of what we can see inside the storm. I'm not seeing debris being lofted into the storm. That's certainly a good thing right there. When we look specifically at the hail threat, not a large hail threat out of this, it's the wind. And as we turn on the winds with this, you can see a clear signature here where the green and the red meet. This green right here is going toward the radar. This is trying to outrun part of this line. Anytime you get wind in a line that's trying to outrun it, it can give you a potential spin-up tornado. So let's put a fresh track on this, and then we'll check on the storm in northeast Georgia, because that one is concerning as it is moving through. And we've had a history of some reports of at least a funnel cloud there. So Slater, Tigerville, Blue Ridge near the high school, 325, and then Skyland near Skyland Elementary at about 329. All right, a busy time of day, busy time of day, folks. Can't stress this enough. If you have a loved one that might be in the car on the way to pick up the little ones at school, need to be seeking shelter and staying put. Of course, the teachers, the school officials are aware of this warning. The sirens are going off in Greenville County. You need to be seeking shelter right now in northern Greenville County and not traveling. Do not travel in this activity right now. Let's check on what's going on down toward the south, as I've got a dangerous look on live Super Doppler 4 HD with a potential tornado here that left Banks County, now moving into parts of Hart County. And I've got to tell you, when I look at the wind speeds in this, and I look at live Super Doppler 4 HD, this is a concerning look here for me, as this hook right here indicates the potential tornado moving toward the north and east. So let's zoom into this activity right here as we get a fresh look from live Super Doppler 4 HD. Okay, getting a fresh one now. Looks like it's on the line here of parts of Franklin County and Hart County. It's heading toward Hartwell City and Lake Hartwell, okay? Just north of you folks in Bowman. All right, there is Anderson. Our Portman Marina Skycam sits right there. Let's take a fresh look at that, at what it's showing us here across Anderson County, strategically pointed into Georgia, as we've got, almost looks like some clearing of the skies. That's helped you warm up. In fact, these areas in the southern part of the upstate closer to the mid to upper 70s, where the northern part of the upstate in the upper 60s right now. So very warm, kind of, unstable air has moved in ahead of that warm front here. And this is just kind of the leading edge of an outbreak of storms that are back toward the west. All right, so when we look specifically at the winds in this, right in there, yeah, this is a very dangerous look, folks. This is very possibly a tornado south of Carnesville here in Franklin County. Here's Highway 29 that gets you into Hart County. You need to be seeking shelter. Can't stress this enough, folks. This is a dangerous look on live Super Doppler 4 HD. Let's get a storm track on this as we pinpoint exactly where that rotation and potential tornado is at right now. Within the next 10 minutes, that's all I'm going out. Really honing in on where this area might be impacted in the next 5 to 10 minutes. Franklin Springs, the Brown Hospital, a historical site there, Royston, and then Red Wine Church. all within the next 10 minutes. You need to be seeking shelter. This is very possibly a tornado right now in southern Franklin County in northeast Georgia, heading on Highway 29 toward Hartwell. All right, when I look specifically at live Super Doppler 4 HD, we've got that look here. The hail core is toward the north. The hook is down in here, so the wind is kind of feeding into the storm, a potential tornado. And this matches up with where I just showed you the wind. Okay, so when I see the radar give me that look where I saw the rotation, that tells me that this is a dangerous situation. You need to be seeking shelter right now. Let's give you a more out into the distant storm track on this, as it is in parts of Franklin County. It is heading quickly into Hart County, and then I'm going to go ahead and extend it out here for you folks in Anderson County. Now, it's important to note that you're not under a tornado warning in Anderson, but you see the clock here. By 4 o'clock, this tornadic warned storm could be on top of you. So I'm going ahead and giving you a heads up that though you may not be under a warning right now, you need to be going ahead and getting to your safe place. This is a dangerous storm, and it is heading toward Anderson, okay? Holland Store by 346. Hartwell by 333, and then Royston by about 314. And again, that possible tornado is located right on Highway 29, heading into Hart County from Franklin County. This is south of you folks in Carnesville, south of you folks in Livonia, and now appears the most dangerous storm is going to approach the southern part of Lake Hartwell here, and then approach into Anderson County, moving in kind of a northeast fashion right here, okay? So 2 active tornado warnings across the upstate right now. I'm going to zoom out here and show you what's going on with this line, as this is part of a strong system that is continuing to move our way. As it moves on out of Alabama and Mississippi, we've got a very dangerous situation back toward the west as this line continues to press on off toward the east. So this line is over us right now with 2 active tornado warnings, and then we've got a very dangerous situation here across parts of Alabama, parts of Georgia, as this line pushes on through the area here. This is all part of a very volatile air mass here that is giving a possible tornado outbreak today. When I look specifically at the risks as we go into the evening and overnight hours, the highest risk is back toward the west, but we're right there on the border of this. In fact, just about 45 minutes ago, our area was upgraded to the medium risk for severe weather. Now, the extreme risk, that's a very rare risk that's ever issued here, is back toward Huntsville, Birmingham, southern parts of Middle Tennessee, even close to Nashville. Now, this risk does include now the high risk for southwest mountains of North Carolina. So Robbinsville, Murphy, Hayesville, and in North Georgia. But we were just upgraded probably about 45 minutes ago to this medium category, the yellow here, from Hendersonville to Asheville to northern Pickens and Oconee County. And that's where I'm seeing the most dangerous weather right now. Now, this is not only the risk for right now, but into the evening hours and the early overnight hours as we continue to see a situation that's volatile. And I got to tell you, there are 2 areas of concern right here. And getting a fresh look at this appendage here across parts of Greenville County, I got to tell you, there are 2 areas that are really concerning me right here. I'm going to stop this loop. We've seen it a couple of times. Right here. You see how that is bowing out a little bit? It's almost giving you that S shape. Anytime you get a curvature right there in a line, that gives you the indication that this could possibly be a tornado. And right there is where it would be. All right. Let's get a closer look at this. Slater and Marietta, Highway 414 right in here. This would be where our potential tornado would be. And it is heading toward Tigerville, right along the Highway 25 corridor. This would be north of Travelers Rest within the next 5 to 10 minutes, okay? So near the TR Speedway, just north of State Park Road would be the most concerning area for that as it heads toward Tigerville. There is Lake Robinson. As I put a loop on this, we'll watch it loop a couple of times, and right there, that could possibly be a dangerous situation here in Slater. That's where we'd see the most dangerous weather as it moves on through right now. Putting a fresh storm track on it. This is a tool that I got to tell you can save lives, folks. Gives us an instant look, and just look at that, folks. Within 2 scans, you can see that S shape. I'm going to draw it out for you, but you see it. Anytime you see an S shape right there, that is a telltale sign of a potential tornado. And reason being is part of that line is out racing the other part of the line. And this gives us the potential of an active tornado on the ground in northern Greenville County. North of Slater, right at Tigerville here. And TR, anybody in Tigerville, North Greenville County, Northern Taylors, Northern Greer, you need to be seeking shelter right now. And folks, this is a very busy time of the day. I get it. You've got kids to pick up. You may be on your way to pick up kids. You may be in the car right now picking up kids watching us on our WYFF4 mobile app. You need to get to a sturdy structure right now. Do not be traveling in this. You need to be getting to a low-lying area, a sturdy structure, because this could possibly be a tornado on the ground in parts of Greenville County. There are two areas that are actually rotating in this line, one that is heading toward Tigerville and one that is heading up toward parts of Terry Creek, Cross Plain, and then heading toward Glassy Mountain. All right, so two areas there. And as I look down here, this is a dangerous look on live Super Doppler 4 HD as we had the potential of an active tornado across parts of Franklin County, across parts of Hart County. And this continues to give us a dangerous look across Cannon and Royston and Hartwell, all right? So watching this closely here as I put our Anderson Sky camera up right here, watching this as it brings on some darker skies there as we've got a dangerous situation. Guys, we'll go ahead and go full here, getting some new information here from the National Weather Service. District 5 in Spartanburg County are following tornado warning procedures right now. The school is not being allowed to dismiss until the threat has cleared. Any running buses right now, we're being told by the National Weather Service, have been rerouted to the nearest school for shelter. So those of you that are wondering about your grandkids, your kids, Spartanburg County District 5 letting the National Weather Service know that they are not allowing dismissal right now. The kids are on their way or in a safe place. They are using the closest school. Even if it's not your child's school, they're using the closest school as an active shelter for what's going on right now across Spartanburg County as you are under a tornado warning until 3:30. And then we've got an active tornado warning across parts of Hart County going into parts of Anderson County here in the next little bit. So we've got two active areas here. You got this S shape here across Greenville County. That is an active area that is a potential tornado. And if you're just now joining us, please share this with your family and friends. A very dangerous situation here across two areas. Two possible tornadoes, and we've had a history here and reports from emergency managers in northeast Georgia and Banks County of a funnel cloud and possible touchdown of that funnel cloud in Banks County. Now that dangerous storm is over parts of Hart County, all right? So what we're seeing here is the potential that this could be cycling. It could be going up and then back down, and it looks like we're in kind of a cycle here across Greenville County. I do not like the look of this S shape because that tells me that there is a part of this segment here that is trying to outrun the other part of the segment. And if you're in northern Greenville County, you need to be seeking shelter right now as this possible tornado and this dangerous line that is moving through is going to be approaching Spartanburg County momentarily. All right, then you've got an active tornado warning here across parts of Hart County. This is heading into southern Anderson County right here. A very dangerous situation from what I'm seeing in this area. They've just trimmed you out of the active tornado warning in Franklin County. You can come out of your safe place. I like to let you know just as soon as you can come out because, folks, I know how scary this type situation can be and how that can make you feel. Franklin County, you're now out of the warning. I'm giving you the clear to come out of your safe place, but stay on alert, folks. The most dangerous part is just to the east of you. It already has moved through, but you've still got some heavy rain and some lightning, and I don't want you going out into any kind of damage or possible down trees or power lines there. So what we have going on right now is a dangerous look on live Super Doppler 4 HD. This activity in Hart County. A tool that I have here at WYFF4 on our own live Super Doppler 4 HD radar, and combined with the Atlanta radar and our Greer radar, gives us an instant look at where this storm is in 3 dimensions so I can see what it looks like and how high it goes. I'm seeing that this storm goes to about 20,000 feet, and we've got a very pronounced hail core out of this. And that's my concern here is we have 2 active areas, and that is a dangerous look, what we call a Boeing segment. That S look to the radar, as I turn on our high-resolution radar, you can see that as we look closer at this, there's a lot of lightning out of it. This is a dangerous storm across Greenville County and Hart County moving into parts of Georgia. So let's look closer at the upstate right now. Some heavy rain spilling into Greenville downtown, but the most dangerous part of this storm is just north of you there in parts of Greenville County, Spartanburg County, and we're getting word here from school districts that they do not want you traveling in this, and we don't either, folks. A very dangerous situation in Greenville County and Spartanburg County. Spartanburg District 5 letting the National Weather Service know that they are not dismissing schools right now. They do not want you attempting to come to pick up right now. They're keeping the kids in the sheltered area of the school, and if the kid was on a school bus, if your child was on a school bus, they are rerouting that school bus to the nearest school for immediate shelter, okay? That may not be your kid's school, okay? So I know this is an anxious and a dangerous time right now. The core of the storm where the potential tornado would be is still west of Spartanburg. So you've got some time to kind of get to a safe place. Any school buses that were on the way by now are notified. We've been able to have an active warning, a heads up about this about 45 minutes before this actually got into Greenville and Spartanburg County. So hopefully most of those school buses are where they need to be. Same story down here toward Hart County. I got to tell you folks, I'm not liking the look out of Hart County. This is a dangerous storm, and it continues to show me a dangerous look here across two areas. Let's look closely at Hart County here, moving into parts of Lake Hartwell, just south of Clemson. Look at this core of the storm. It continues to get stronger as this pushes off into Hart County, and the potential tornado right there. All right, in southern Hart County, moving into Hartwell, downtown area, and then the southern part of Lake Hartwell right now. So the city of Hartwell and the Lake Hartwell, okay? This is moving toward Anderson County. It would not surprise me at all to see an extension of this warning into Anderson County shortly. As I look specifically at the winds on live Super Doppler 4 HD, the most dangerous part of the storm here in Hart County, we've got some very strong winds here as this line possibly 70 miles per hour as the wind goes toward our radar site, which scans right off of I-85. If you drive up and down 85, you'll see our Doppler radar. Gives us an instant look at where these winds are the strongest. And we've got that rotation here just south of Hartwell right here. And I want to get into street level and show you where we're talking about, okay? Pulling up some of my tools right in here as we look closer at this active rotation in southern Hart County, moving into Anderson County. Right there is Highway 172. There is Highway 77. Where the two meet, the strongest winds, you need to be seeking shelter. This is a possible tornado right now. As I turn on Doppler radar, gives us an instant look at where that could possibly be. There's the hook right in here. Potential tornado could be right here. The wind feeding away or toward the radar there, and right in here. It would be where the possible tornado would be, or right in there. There's a hail core up toward the north, a large amount of hail moving towards you folks in Clemson. You're not in the rotating part of the storm, but this is a very dangerous storm that is moving toward Anderson County. Star, Iva, Townville. Anywhere around Lake Hartwell in the southern part of Anderson County, you need to be seeking shelter right now. Here's a fresh storm track out of this line as it pushes toward Highway 77. I'm going to get you into Hart County here. So Nancy Hart School, Newburgh, Sardis Church, and the power plant right there at 3:30, near the southern part of Lake Hartwell, near the power plant, okay? So 3:30 within the next 10 minutes would be when that volatile part of the storm will be moving towards your area. As we zoom out just a bit, I'm going to give you kind of a big picture look at this because I know you're concerned about what's happening in Greenville County, in Spartanburg County. I'm thinking this storm over Greenville County is cycling. What that means is it fluctuates up and it fluctuates down. Right now we're appearing to be in a kind of a down flux. It kind of will flare back up, and that's the concern with this, that we cannot let our guard down with this, even though it does not have as much of a concerning look on live Super Doppler 4 HD. We've seen this fluctuate in intensity up and down, and that's what these storms do. They pulse up and they pulse back down, especially with the environment that it's rolling into here in northern Greenville and northern Spartanburg County until 3:30 this morning would be continued to. We've got an active tornado warning here across Hart County, moving toward the southern part of the lake into Anderson County here, and giving you a track on these two cells. I want to kind of just give you a broad look at where this is. We've got an active tornado warning here across Greenville County and Spartanburg County. This would be the northern parts of the counties. If you live in Simpsonville and parts of Malden, this does not include you. We're watching it closely, but this is for areas like Travelers Rest, Greer, and Taylors. This warning goes until 3:30. We've got another tornado warning that includes Hart County and is heading toward Anderson County. This warning goes until 3:45. Watching this closely as it pushes off toward the east here at about 40 miles per hour. This is a very dangerous look on live Super Doppler 4 HD. We've seen this storm fluctuate up as well. And we've got confirmation, ground truth, so to speak, of an active funnel cloud that was trying to touch down in Banks County, Georgia, as it moved into Franklin County. Okay, so two dangerous storms there. As I put a storm track on both of these, we've got a busy time of the day. And this most dangerous part of the storm here in Greenville County is pushing east toward parts of Lake Robinson, parts of Greer and Taylors. This is moving toward parts of Spartanburg County, okay? And this other part of the line here in Hart County is pushing toward Anderson. I want to go ahead and let you know that though you're not in the warning right now in Anderson County, this storm could be on top of you by 3:42, and in Campbell by 3:50, Belton by 3:56. and watching that closely here as we look at this storm as it moves on through. I want to take advantage of some of our sky cams across the area here as we've got a couple of strategically placed cameras across the area. Let's look first at our Anderson sky cam. It looks like you got some low clouds and the storms are trying to roll in from Georgia. This is pointing toward Georgia, exactly where the storms will be coming in at. So I want to keep looking at our sky cams because that can give us an idea of the way the storms look by the Doppler and the sky cam. Another camera here that's strategically placed is over Wofford, just north of downtown Spartanburg. Again, we see the low clouds, we see some rain, and the most volatile part of this storm toward the north and west of you there in Spartanburg County. Greenville Skycam, the Peace Center, looking off toward the south here. We've got some rain, we've got the low clouds. The most volatile part of this storm is to your north. So on either side of Greenville and Anderson, I got to tell you, we're watching this very closely here. And in fact, getting some new information in here of the thunderstorm that's over Hartwell. It appears to now have sped up to 50 miles per hour. Typing in a report here. All right, we'll see what we get an idea back there. It's moving east at 50 miles per hour now. So that's what's new with this storm out of Elbert and Hart County. Getting some new information in here for the possibility of that. Greenville County storm is now approaching Greer. We can get in closer to this part of the storm here. You've got that bowing side of the storm as it looks right in here, almost like a bow and arrow, and getting a new, fresh look at it on live Super Doppler 4 HD. The most volatile part of the storm is over parts of Greenville County, in Tigerville, and parts of Greer. You need to be in your safe spot here across Lake Robinson. As we look in closely right here, there's Lake Robinson, there's Blue Ridge High School. There's Milford, there's Sandy Flat. All right, let's put a track on this. This is where the rotation has been located. It is near Taylor's, near Sandy Flat Road. Moving off toward the east here in parts of Greenville County, Lake Robinson, Mount View, Blue Ridge, Skyland, Milford. Got to be honest with you, folks, this is right where my family lives. So I'm sure they're watching right now and getting to the safe place. Lauren's got the boys. I'm sure they're somewhere safe. Always watching that. A dangerous situation there across Greenville County, just north of Greer and in Taylor's. You need to be seeking shelter right now. Putting a look at the wind speeds in this, it appears the strongest winds are now moving toward the southern end of Lake Robinson, okay? There's Lake Robinson right here. Right in here would be near the strongest winds. Just north of Locust Hill, as you approach Lake Robinson, right in there would be the strongest winds in this, and that is moving through as you are currently under that active tornado warning, and that does include Spartanburg County, where, folks, I know this is a stressful time of the day. You're ready to pick up your kids from school. Kids are on school buses right now. Your grandkids, your kids, possibly. What we're hearing from Spartanburg District 5, at the very least, the newsroom's gathering some information on this as well, is that the school buses have been rerouted to the nearest school to shelter in place right there. That may not be your child's school, but it's the safest place for them to not be on the roads during this activity. So we know that this is a dangerous situation, folks, but the best thing that we can do is just to hold tight where you're at. You do not want to be traveling in this type situation. You want to be in a sturdy structure. Let this storm pass over. Then you can go about your activities and get your day going again. I know that this is a busy time of day, and I know the stress is high when you're talking about pickup time. Many are, going to and from at this time of the day. So Hart County heading into Anderson County, Starr and Iva, waiting word to see if this is going to continue into Anderson County with an active tornado warning here until 3:45. The most dangerous part of the storm does appear to be approaching the state line, moving out of Georgia, east of Hartwell into Anderson County. So it'll be interesting to see if this line does indicate that we will see an extension of this possible tornado warning as it moves into Anderson. So Montevideo at about 3:27, Starr at about 3:40. Anderson by 3:48, and then Toxaway by about 3:50. So watching this very closely as it moves on through these areas. Though you're not in the actual warned area here in Anderson County, I want to give you a heads up that you need to be getting to your safe place, especially in the southern part of the county near Starr and Iva, as we're watching this line move on through the area here near Highway 81, Highway 28. As live Super Doppler 4 HD is in a great spot to give us an instant look. We don't have a delay on this. This is our radar. We're able to see exactly where this wind is located, where the most dangerous part of the storm is located, and we are looking at this closely and getting word here to see possible tornado in Abbeville, Anderson. So we're getting word that this has been extended. For Anderson County, as we expected, this dangerous storm, you are now in a tornado warning in Anderson County and in Greenville County, the southern end of Greenville County. So whereas in Fountain Inn and Moonville, you've been well south of that most dangerous storm, this one from the west is now moving in towards your area as this active warning will go until 4:15. The possible tornado was located 6 miles east of Hartwell or 6 miles west of Star. So Star and Iva, as we've been telling you, you need to be in your safe place at this moment. This has indicated to us of a potential possible tornado here across Star and Iva as we're seeing this actually move into Anderson County, crossing the state line right now. And I got to tell you, our sky cam is right there in the thick of it. You know, the northern part of Lake Hartwell looking toward the south and the west. We're able to see these storms as they roll out of Greenville or out of Georgia, moving off toward the north and east. And we're getting word here that the storm here in Greenville County could be fluctuating back up. And again, we've been watching two areas, one near Glassy Mountain in Greenville County near Highway 11, and the other has been near Blue Ridge and Lake Robinson. It appears the strongest winds are now over Lake Robinson near the southern part of the lake, near Highway 101 right there. Gross Meadow Road near Stillwater, and then heading south towards Sandy Flat and Locust Hill. This is heading toward the northern part of Greer, Lake Cunningham, and then Lyman Lake here into Spartanburg County shortly near Highway 357. You need to be in your safe place there. So two active areas of potential rotation here as it moves out of Georgia into parts of Greenville County, Anderson County. You are included in this active warning here. And let's kind of start fresh for those of you that are watching. We'll take this full, guys, as you can see what we have going on. Two active areas of rotation that is going on right now across Greenville County, parts of Pickens County, and moved out into parts of Spartanburg County. And just getting word here that they are going to allow that warning in Greenville County to expire here for the northern part. Watching as it keeps fluctuating and moving into these areas of Spartanburg County. That warning has been expired right now, but I want to let you know, folks, you do not need to let your guard down with that storm, as it is still showing some signs of some mid-level rotation here across parts of Spartanburg County and Henderson County and Polk County. So you are in the clear for right now, but I got to tell you, I'm not liking the signs of what I'm seeing in Hart County moving into Anderson County. A brand new warning was issued with this activity that is moving into Anderson County. So watching that closely here in parts of Hartwell and parts of Anderson County as this is now across the state line. As I turn on our high resolution live Super Doppler 4 HD, this is our very own radar, gives us an instant look at where these storms are located across Anderson County, across Hart County. What we've seen here is this line that is in Spartanburg and Greenville County. Please do not let your guard down. Just because the warning has been allowed to expire, it does not mean the danger is over. There is still some mid-level road.
The National Weather Service in Greenville, Spartanburg has issued a tornado warning for eastern Hart County in northeastern Georgia, southeastern Greenville County in upstate South Carolina, central Anderson County in upstate South Carolina, northeastern Abbeville County in upstate South Carolina, until 4:15 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. At 3:27 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located 6 miles east of Hartwell, or 6 miles west of Star, moving east at 55 miles per hour. Hazard, tornado. Source, radar indicated rotation. Impact, flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows, and vehicles will occur. Tree damage is likely. This dangerous storm will be near Homeland Park, Star, Anderson Airport, and Iva around 3:40 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Belton around 3:50 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Hania Path and Ware Shoals around 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Other locations impacted by this dangerous thunderstorm include Fort Shoals, Princeton, Sadler's Creek State Park, and Broadway Lake. Take cover now. Move to a basement or an interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy building. Avoid windows. If you are outdoors, in a mobile home, or in a vehicle, move to the closest substantial shelter and protect yourself from flying debris. Please report damaging winds, hail, or flooding to the National Weather Service Greenville-Spartanburg by calling toll-free 1-800-267-8101 or by posting on our Facebook page or tweet it using hashtag NWSGSP.
Place watching that storm in Greenville County and in Anderson County. This appears to be the most dangerous part of the storm here in Starr and in Iva, south of downtown Anderson right here, south of Belton and Honeypath. We've got the strong winds that at times have given us ground truth of potential tornado on the ground there. We've had a report out of Banks County in Georgia, just west of Hartwell, west of Franklin County, of a potential funnel cloud that emergency managers were seeing that try to come to the ground. And that rotation has made its way out of Georgia across the state line, just south of the power plant right there into Starr and Iva areas of southern Anderson County, and need to be seeking shelter in this area where this tornado warning extends until 4:15. Watching it for Princeton, watching it in Moonville, watching in these areas of southern Greenville County as this line continues to push on through. Let's get a fresh storm track on this as it rolls on through parts of Anderson, Starr, and Iva. Watching it closely here as it moves on through Crescent High School, okay? This is heading towards you at 3:36, any minute now. Iva, Antraville, and Honeypath by 4:03. So that's where the most dangerous part of the storm is. That's where we've seen the potential rotation right over Crescent High, okay? Ball practices, any kind of practices, all halted right now. Everybody is taking this serious and getting to safe places. You do not need to be traveling in this. I know it's a busy time of the day. This storm is rolling now at 50 miles per hour, so we've got this moving in and out. This will be, out of here within about 30 minutes time frame out of these areas, and you can kind of assess where you're at. But you do not want to be traveling in these areas if we've seen a tremendous amount of wind that at times have been estimated over 70 miles per hour by our Doppler radar, and the potential that it is a rotating thunderstorm. An active tornado warning here for Anderson, Abbeville, and Greenville counties until 4:15. Now, the action in northern Greenville County is separate from this action that's going on here across parts of Anderson County that's in southern Greenville County. We've got active wind that is now about 50 to 60 miles per hour. And again, what you'll see happen out of these lines is they fluctuate up, they fluctuate back down, and that's kind of been the concern here as we're looking closely at this activity. As we pull out a little bit, let's check on that cell that's going on in northern Greenville County. At one time, it gave us that classic S shape, which meant the line was kind of bowing out. Still a dangerous situation here across Greenville County as we've got that strong wind that is moving out of Greenville County, basically crossing the county line right here as this area from Lake Robinson up toward Glassy Mountain has been rotating and has given us some indications that it's got some very strong wind here approaching basically the airport, northbound in Greer, heading into Lyman Lake, parts of Lake Cunningham, all indicating that this could possibly be some strong winds moving your way. And we don't want to let our guard down with this line right here, as it has been fluctuating up and down with its intensity at its peak as it moved out of Pickens County into Greenville County. And as we look closer at this activity here, got a little bit of a hail return right there, possibly near Glassy Mountain as it moves on through the area right here. So a fresh storm track of this activity as it pushes out of Greenville County into parts of Spartanburg County. We'll be watching this line as it moves into you folks in Taylor's, basically right over you any minute now. Lyman Lake at about 3:54. Downtown Spartanburg now looks like that strong cell, that strong line will be moving through you at about 4:12, and then Cowpens by about 4:19 as this line is pushing eastbound at about 40 to 50 miles per hour. There are no active tornado warnings. The sirens have gone down across parts of Greenville and Spartanburg County, but I want to let you know the storm is not done yet. It is a strong storm. We've had this rotation that is still showing up. One of our tools here at WYFF4 is it isolates just the rotation in the storm, nothing else. Takes the radar out, takes the hail and everything else out, and just shows you where the rotating part of the storm is. And Cedric is placing it here, as you can see. We've got the rotation still in this storm. Though there's not a warning on this, I'm telling you it's a dangerous storm in Greenville County. On the east side of the lake right now, Lake Robinson, and it's pushing toward parts of Campobello, Inman, into Spartanburg County, Milford, parts of Inman by 3:52, and then Boiling Springs by about 4:01. Would not be surprised if this does prompt another warning as we watch this line kind of try to fluctuate up and back down. What has been a dangerous storm is you can kind of see the velocities peaking in these three areas that kind of match up with where we just saw that rotation as we kind of isolated just that rotation. That too looks like a little dangerous area right there as the wind is going toward the GSP radar site and away from it here. We're able to access all of those as we turn on both of these. You can see this line is still trying to rotate as Cedric places that here across Highway 14. We want you to still be in your safe spot here across the Greenville County, Spartanburg County line. This is approaching Holly Motlow Springs Elementary. This is approaching Lake Bowen, parts of Inman and Lyman Lake, and northern parts of Boiling Springs near Highway 11, basically right along Highway 11 with a couple of different areas here that could be rotating within this. So looking at the debris, we watch this as it could possibly be showing us debris that could be lofted up into the sky, whether it be leaves or tree branches or possibly some damage. Not seeing anything that stands out too terribly much, but we're watching this activity here as this kind of locates right where we saw some of the strongest winds. So we'll watch that, and let's check in on that tornado warning across down toward the south as we've got that early warning Doppler rotation right in that area. As we look at this line across Anderson County, it is fluctuating as well. It appears to be taking on more of a linear form, whereas before it kind of had that very tight look to it where the hook echo was right in there. Now it appears to be kind of spread out a little bit more as it's fluctuating. Still 60 to 70 mile per hour winds just south of you folks in Iva. So Star, Iva, down Highway 81 right in here. Those are some dangerous areas that are included in this warning, and this would be moving toward the east very quickly. So this line here, as we put a storm track on this close in the near term, this is where this storm is heading across Star and Iva, pushing eastbound toward Highway 185, Lake Succession and Iva within the next 5 to 10 minutes. Antroville School at 3:56, and then Kiwi at 3:59. Again, what we can urge you folks, I know it's a stressful time of the day. You've got school pickup, you've got after school pickup, daycare pickup. You do not want to be traveling in this in Anderson County. Let this line pass over. A sturdy structure is where you need to be. Looking at the potential debris in this as possible leaves or other limbs could be lofted up into these storms, indicating that we could have some damage. The possibility of this back toward the west, nothing really jumping out too much, but we're watching this activity right in here that could indicate some strong winds, or at least the possibility that this could be pushing in some of this damage as it moves on through these areas. As we slice this in 3 dimensions, one of the tools we have that shows us how tall this storm is we can see the potential of some hail right in here, or the potential that some of this debris from the ground could be lofted up into the storm. This storm goes up to about 20,000 feet. So nonetheless, a very dangerous storm with the potential that a tornado could be on the ground here. And we saw that back toward the west. Let's take a loop of this storm as we kind of look at where it's kind of fluctuated up and down and kind of the life cycle of this storm as it's rolled on through these areas, as it rolls on through Anderson County and Hart County, as it really flared up across Franklin County. And you can see right in here across Anderson County, you've got that line that right here as it approached Hart County, we had the report as it moved out of Banks County of a possible funnel cloud as emergency managers reported a potential tornado on the ground. And then it moved into southern Franklin County, Hart County, and then moved right over the power plant with that strong line. Let me get out of the way right here. You can see where that storm has fluctuated across Hart County right in there. Yeah, that's a strong storm that definitely has some signatures here that, it's fluctuating up and down. These have a life cycle. They kind of, they can't sustain themselves for as long, but we still got some very strong winds out of this, kind of out ahead of that line right there that could feed into it. And what we have out of this is the potential that that line could begin to outrun itself and allow it to possibly rotate in some areas. So there's Greenville. There is Spartanburg. You are not included in any warnings right now, but we're watching that activity that is now pushed into Spartanburg County, right along the county line right there. And then the other dangerous area is here across Anderson County and Star and Iva. So watching this line here, it's just north of the airport. This is the line that prompted the tornado warning for Pickens and Greenville County. Greenville County, you're almost in the clear. We want to give you just a few more minutes because this line right here is pushing east into Spartanburg County. I want you to be on alert as you are right now in Lyman and Inman and Boiling Springs and Chesney. Right around Lake Bowen, north toward, Wofford College and Spartanburg, okay? These areas need to be on alert because we've seen this line right here fluctuate, and I'm starting to see some signs here as we get on the other side of the GSP Doppler radar that this line could try to start to outrun itself in some areas. Now, this is entering an area that hasn't been touched by the recent rain and storms over the past hour, and as Cedric plots it right here, still seeing the potential of some rotation, so it would not surprise me if this storm fluctuates accelerates back up, and it's a more singular area here just south of Gowensville, heading toward Campobello. Putting a fresh track on this, it'll put it over Lake Bowen here in the next 10 minutes. So areas around the lake in Campobello, Mascot, Inman, Campton, Boiling Springs, all within the next 10 minutes. This storm is heading right towards you. We possibly still have some rotation. So please, though there's not a warning, you need to be taking this storm seriously, as there could be some rotation. And our technology here at WYFF4 indicating that there is still some rotation in this cell as it moves off toward the east, basically paralleling Highway 11 or just south of it right there, leaving Greenville County, heading into Spartanburg County. So watching that, and then some further rotation possible up toward Rutherford County as this main line is kind of pushing out ahead of it. This is just on the other side of the warm front that's been moving our way, and got some brighter greens showing up here, which indicate the flare up of some winds as it moves on through the area. Parts of Green Creek, Polk County, right along the state line here, 30 to 40 miles per hour winds. Lots of lightning, some very heavy rainfall associated with this, as this leading edge stretching from Rutherford County into Polk County down into Spartanburg County gives us this warning. So let's take a bigger picture look at where this line stands as kind of the leading edge of this activity that is rolling through the area here. Across Anderson County, we've got this rotation that has really fluctuated up and down. We got to watch this leading edge, especially as it rolls into areas that are near 80 degrees in Abbeville, in Greenwood, in Union. You have really warmed up out ahead of this line. You can see where Cedric plots these temperatures here. These oranges would indicate 80s, the yellows 70s. As we've really warmed up around the lake, it has become a very warm, hot, almost unstable day across these areas, as this boundary appears to be setting up right here of the cooler air to the north and the warmer air to the south. And good news here for you folks in Elbert County and Hart County. The warning has been canceled for you. The primary focus right now remains across parts of Anderson County. So this warning right here across Hart County will soon expire, and we'll see this Anderson warning be the primary focus. But again, I don't want to let your guard down in anywhere in Polk and in Spartanburg counties here, because I'm seeing this line kind of take on a bowing look to it. At the very least, we've got some strong winds and the potential that this could be some rotation here across parts of Spartanburg County near I-26 moving up toward the north here. So again, let's start up here, and we're seeing this line right here. This would not surprise me if we get a new warning. Yep, right there is where our technology is showing it. As the wind feeds into the storm right here, what's happening is this part of the line is trying to outrun the other part. So this could very well be some rotation and the grounds for another tornado warning in parts of Spartanburg County, as we isolate everything but the most important information here, the rotation. Where is the storm rotating? Nothing else is what this is showing you here. South of Gowensville, most dangerous part of the storm just entered Spartanburg County. It's moving toward Campobello. It's moving toward Inman. It's moving toward Campton and New Prospect. You're not under a warning right now, but I'm telling you, this is a dangerous storm. You need to be in your safe place in northern Spartanburg County near Lake Bowen right here. This is basically going to go right over it. And there's I-26 right there heading out of North Carolina into South Carolina, or vice versa. This is a dangerous storm. You can see that line as it moves on through. Possibly some rotation as part of this line is outrunning the other part of it. This line stretches on down toward the south into Greenville County. As we're watching this very, very closely here, that's one potential, concern area. And then farther to the south here, we've got this active tornado warning that includes the tail end, the southern end of Greenville County, Fountain End south. So if you're in Malden or downtown Greenville, you're not included in this warning area, but this is a dangerous storm as it rolls on through these areas. And Cedric, tell me, what are you seeing out of this storm here across Anderson County? Because it looks like at one time it had that hook, but now it's more taking on kind of a line, but it kind of looks like it's in a cycling type area.
Yeah, I would say so, Chris. Definitely kind of more of a cycling area. And if you look at what's going on here with radar on just reflectivity, you can see we've still got the reds, but notice how it's more of a kind of just almost a line that's showing up across the area. So what we like to look for when we're looking for that potential rotation is any little kind of kinks in the line. So right now, this is more of a damaging wind threat, showing us that the winds are kind of pushing or bowing that line out forward. So that's why it kind of bows forward a little bit there. So there are definitely some strong winds here now moving out of Anderson and Star. But right now, right now not seeing any signs in terms of the winds here. We don't have any red and greens coming together. So right now that's just an indication that we're looking at mainly strong winds showing up here with this activity as it makes its way on through. We can put this in a loop here, and you can kind of see as the storm crossed out of Georgia and into South Carolina, how if we go back here at the beginning of this, you'll be able to see kind of almost as this made its way over towards Hartwell, and you can see kind of how it took on more of, it had kind of more of that appendage that kind of dipped down here at the bottom. I'll draw that for you so you can kind of see almost like that. So almost kind of like a little C shape showing up there, and right in here is where the winds would be going in toward the radar, and then on the back side is where you see the reds and the yellows there. So that indicated more of rotation, but of course now, as you can see here, as we move forward here and we go over into South Carolina, you can see now we just have more of a line shape there, a Boeing shape showing up there. But still, within this, we have some kinks that we kind of got to keep an eye on. Again, right now, radar showing just mainly some strong winds heading towards you and due west. So I'm going to put a tracker on that here for you, give you a little fresh tracker here so that you can see that line as it makes its way on through, and show you when those strong winds will try to arrive again around Honeypath in the next, say, 5 to 6 minutes or so, due west in the next 10 minutes or so, and then Princeton, this will be making its way towards you in the Mount Gallagher area here. So we're getting a kind of an update here on this warning right now, and again, we've got the storm that's the area of concern is kind of located about 9 miles south of Anderson. So it's about 5 miles east of Star, and it's moving east at 45 miles per hour. So, of course, anytime a storm is moving, and when you get 40, 50, 60 miles per hour, that's carrying its own wind with it as well as it makes its way on through there. But right now, seeing definitely more of a Boeing shape, and really watching the line itself off towards the north. We've got a couple of little areas that we're keeping a close eye on. In fact, I'll put kind of our early warning detection on this, and you can see it's still indicating some rotation potentially with that sail down towards the south, but also across the North Carolina-South Carolina border as well. We're seeing that, and even into western North Carolina. So, you know, you've got to kind of watch this as this all kind of makes its way off to the east. It does show some signs of again, of some of this here kind of almost like it's slowing down a little bit, just giving you that indication there is running into a little friction there. But, of course, the main concern is right here between Anderson and Lake Secession there, where we have the tornado warning that's currently in effect. And, again, this line, I'm going to put a fresh tracker on it for you and show you that it is moving off towards the east at 45 miles per hour. So if we time that on out for you here and put that tracker on there, again, we're talking Belton, basically almost on top of you right now. Princeton at 409, and then it will be making its way towards Lawrence at 433. Clinton, it will be moving towards you at 445 as well. So again, Ware Shoals, Princeton, all of you guys are kind of in that path. You need to be taking your tornado safety plans right now. That means get to the lowest level of your home, the most interior room. Make sure you carry something to cover your head with, because of course we know most injuries occur due to the flying debris, not so much the actual winds themselves. But again, that's going to be the primary kind of concern. We'll watch for any of those kinks that come through. But Chris, as you mentioned there on that line, and we've got several areas that we're kind of watching, but nothing that's showing a strong rotation right now. But that doesn't mean it can't happen anytime soon.
Yeah, we've seen this fluctuate up and down. That's the danger. Thank you for that, Cedric. You know, such a dangerous time of day, folks, as so many are out busy right now. Getting word here that there's a potential touchdown with that activity back toward Georgia. We've seen that fluctuate up and down. Emergency managers back toward Banks County reporting that sighting on the funnel cloud. As we look at the lightning strikes across the area, this has been feeding us a strong storm with lots of lightning and at the very least some very strong winds. What we're going to look out for here at the very early signs of this storm were the fact that this was kind of taking on a more volatile look when the line began to outrun the other part of the line here, and that's been the concern across these areas. As Inman, parts of Lyman, you still have the potential of a little bit of rotation here as this main line is moving through. So Lyman 352 any minute now, Sigsbee at about 359, Boiling Springs by 4 o'clock, and then Saxon by about 4:06. So a dangerous part of the storm now moving through these areas as it rolls on toward the east at about 40 miles per hour. Just getting word from the National Weather Service here that they are going to continue this warning across Abbeville, Anderson, and the southern tip of Greenville County. For those of you that are in Greenville here watching across the area, if you're in downtown, you've been right in the middle of both of these cells as they've rolled on through the area. The more dangerous side of the storm now is in the southern part of the county. So there's Simpsonville, Malden, your just north of that. You want to stay on alert. You want to stay aware as this could be moving on through the area here. And as this rolls on through these areas, we're going to be watching that in parts of Greenville County and parts of Anderson County as it's rolling on through here. Getting word here from Greenville County Schools that all buses in the southern part of Greenville County are grounded for now. Students are sheltering in place, okay? So and now it's the opposite. We had the northern part of Greenville County sheltering in place. Now Greenville County Schools saying that areas in the southern part of the county, all school buses have been halted. North of 85, they are going to begin to take students home within the next 10 to 15 minutes. So such a stressful time of the day, folks. I know you're wondering where your loved one is, where your child is. Getting word that buses north of 85, now that the most volatile side of the storm is crossing into Spartanburg County, they are going to begin to start to transport students home in northern Greenville County until within the next 10 to 15 minutes, and all buses in the southern part of Greenville County are grounded for now. And that's because of this active tornado warning that's in the southern part of Greenville County. South of Fountain Inn, south of Piedmont right there, this is where the most dangerous part of the storm is, and still indicating that we could have some rotation here across parts of Spartanburg County. This line is fluctuating back up. I got to tell you, it's kind of what the line did at the beginning. It looked, you know, a little bit down like it was fluctuating, but these brighter greens here indicating that the winds are picking up, and that's the start as the winds are trying to go toward the Doppler radar right here, which would indicate it's trying to spin back up. Now, it's not at the lower levels. It's not incredibly strong right now, but this is a volatile line in and of itself. And as Cedric puts this in motion, you can see the lifespan of this as it's kind of flared back up a bit. These brighter pixels right in there would indicate to me that in the northern part of Spartanburg County, as you approach the Polk County line, possibly some rotation in that as the winds at the very least are beginning to peak back up. And that's where that line is. You can see it's taking on more of a squiggly look. You know, not necessarily a meteorological word, but hey, we'll go with it because that's what it's doing. The Boeing segment of this would indicate that it's possibly got some volatile winds that are trying to chase or outrun another part of it. So Boiling Springs until 3:57, Mayo by 4:06, other parts of Boiling Springs about 4:19. So this is moving in kind of a north and an east fashion, heading towards you folks in Cherokee County, Rutherford County. We want to go ahead and just put you on alert that you need to be watching this storm very closely as this part is still showing us some indications that it could be rotating. Kind of a further out line track here. Forest City, Boiling Springs, Shelby, and Cherryville, all within the next 45 minutes. Now, farther south is where we've got an active tornado warning, which is prompting the crawl at the top of your screen. In Anderson County, we've got the possibility of some rotation, and this is kind of taking on kind of a linear look right in here, whereas before it kind of had that tight couplet with the potential tornado, and it looks like we're starting to get a little bit of rotation now showing up here as our Doppler radar is just to the north of this. So the reds here would indicate that the winds are going away from the radar and that possibly this is trying to feed into the storm. So right in here would be the potential rotation. And here in just the past few scans, we've seen that rotation fluctuate back up. So this is very near the Abbeville County line. Here is Abbeville, which is why you are in the warning, and in Anderson County. So tracking where this specific rotation is in Anderson County, it's very near Wright Elementary School, which is why, folks, we're telling you this is school dismissal time. You need to be seeking shelter in a sturdy building, and schools are one of the most sturdy buildings that we have. So please stay put. Please get to a safe place in Sailor's Crossroads at 3:59, Kiwi by 4:05, Donalds by 4:12 as this activity is pushing off toward the east. We've got this active tornado warning that includes Anderson County, southern Greenville County, and northern Anderson County. So Donalds, due west, areas toward the north, watching this very closely. As Cedric puts a slice on this, we're able to see this in 3 dimensions. Looking at how tall the storm goes, it is up to 20,000 feet, which is about 4,000 feet or so higher than we last saw with this storm. And looking at the specific rotation, we could possibly see that it could be trying to give us a little touchdown or an appendage right in here near Sailor's Crossroads. So we need to watch this very, very, very closely here as this activity pushes on through these areas. And this is all part of a volatile line that is prompting what could be a tornado outbreak back toward Alabama. Now, the greatest energy with this is going to go like this up toward Middle Tennessee. But here we are with the warm front trying to set up right in here, and some very warm and unstable air is moving out ahead of this. Unfortunately, a tornado outbreak in a very dangerous situation here across Alabama. And we're going to be watching this line as it moves on through the southeast here over the next, say, 12 12 hours, as this could give us some volatile weather at any time throughout the day today. You see here 3 active tornado warnings in Alabama, and we've got the active tornado warning here across parts of the upstate of South Carolina. We've been tracking this cell out of Georgia, and I got to tell you, back here toward North Georgia doesn't look much better either. So extremely volatile air mass. Now, what we have here in the ingredients department is we've got the lift. We've got a lot of energy in the upper parts of the atmosphere, and the wind energy is just very strong with that low back here toward the west, just cranking these winds. What we call a low-level jet setting up across the area here. And as Cedric draws this on, you got some very warm, unstable, almost humid air out ahead of this, and that's allowing it to set up shop. A warm front lays right in here, and as it moves north, it kind of opens the door to what we call the warm sector, the unstable area, the dangerous side of this storm, as this low cranks up into another gear here. So we're going to be on guard with this over the next couple of hours, and closer to home, we've got those threats kind of trying to take shape. An active tornado watch back toward the west. We've got this active tornado warning here across Anderson County. And watching that closely, Star, Iva points eastbound, and looking at this line across Rutherford County, this is kind of taking on kind of a Boeing look. You see that S shape where we did not have that a few moments ago. We saw it ramp up in Greenville County, and yeah, look at that. This is that line trying to outrun the other part of it. So when part of the line slows down, the other part tries to outrun it. That's where you get some rotation with this. And yeah, these winds are ramping up here, 60+ miles per hour across parts of Spartanburg County. And this is just across the county line from Greenville County. There's Lake Bowen. This is heading towards you folks in Chesney. And it looks like we had a brief flare up there with the potential of some rotation. Maybe not, just kind of a flare up. But yeah, that's some strong wind just north of Highway 11. This is heading towards you folks in Chesney, moving kind of toward the north and the east at about 50 miles per hour. Puts it in McGinnis Crossroads, Chesney at 404, Danieltown at 414, and then Alexander Mills at 417. That is some strong wind, and the possibility here that this part of the line could be trying to map up. And yeah, exactly right there where our technology is indicating an early detection here that this could be some rotation. A priceless tool to kind of help us keep you safe, gives us kind of a look at where the radar thinks, hey, yeah, there's some rotation here. So that verifies what we're seeing in this line. Now, further south, this line is producing some strong winds into southern Greenville County and parts of Anderson County, where the tail end of this into North Lake in this warning right here. And this warning continues until 4:15, so about another 15 minutes. Still got some very strong winds near our Doppler radar site. This is our very own Doppler radar. It gives us an instant look at where those storms are located. And right now, the tail end of the storm is one to watch. Kind of when these storms are off by themselves at the tail end of it, they can kind of get into an environment of their own. And right now, this is taking on kind of a linear shape, but nonetheless, you've got some winds that are trying to kick up some rotation here across Anderson County, crossing into Abbeville County. So there's Highway 284. You've got winds that are going toward our radar site, and you got winds that are going away from it. So this is trying to tighten up. At the very least, we got some mid-level rotation here, which is prompting that tornado warning to continue. A potential tornado would be located right here in southern Anderson County, just south of Creightonville, heading toward the east-northeast at about 40 miles per hour. Cedric puts a loop on this as we're looking at it moving like this. So south of Belton near Honeypath, heading toward Princeton, which is why you folks in Greenville County, you've kind of been under some degree of warnings for about an hour now. This is now southern Greenville County. So if you're in Taylors or Greer, still got some heavy rain and some lightning outside your house, but you're not in the danger zone. You're seeing the warning still at the top of the screen here. That is for the activity that is now moving into the southern part of the county now. So there's that activity in southern Anderson County, just for some perspective. There's Anderson County. There's that rotation. This is heading toward Creightonville, Honeypath, Princeton, and then Hickory Tavern. All right, all within the next 30 minutes would be where this cell is moving toward. We've got some very volatile conditions in these areas. Watching it closely, this has had a history of producing at least a funnel cloud spotted by law enforcement in Banks County, Georgia. And this has taken on a shape of a more dangerous look right here as Cedric joins it in. Got that hook right in here as the winds feed into that storm system. And you always have to watch the tail end of these lines because they can kind of get into an environment that's a little more conducive as they're out by themselves a little bit. The little little more vulnerable to spinning up with this kind of wind energy that we have in the atmosphere here. So there's Belton and Honeypath. Farther south is where the danger is. Just south of you folks in Sailor's Crossroads, there's Highway 185. There's Kiwi and parts of Abbeville County. There's Honeypath. Let's do a close-in track here, kind of give you a street level or a kind of a look at where this would be heading minute by minute. So Barkers Creek Baptist Church any minute now. Kiwi, and again, this is Kiwi in Abbeville County. Honeypath Middle School at 4:07, and then Honeypath proper by about 4:08. So within 10 minutes, that line will be knocking on your door there in Abbeville County as this possible rotation setting up shop right in here. So this is the dangerous part of the storm. You can see this is kind of taking on more of a hook like what we saw back toward the west, and that's what we've been urging you to stay vigilant out of this, because we've seen these storms fluctuate up and fluctuate back down as this line is trying to roll on through the area here across Honeypath. There's Highway 178 as this is moving on through these areas. Right there would be where the rotation is. So getting word here from the National Weather Service, we've got a new tornado warning that includes Cherokee and Spartanburg County. That's the activity that we are seeing in the northern part of the county that was in Greenville, which is why we've been telling you to stay vigilant. A new tornado warning now includes Spartanburg and Cherokee County for this activity that we warned you about just a moment ago. Folks in Spartanburg and Cherokee County, I hope that you were already in your safe place. If not, you need to go there now. Chesney, farther south, this line, as we've been telling you about, as Cedric and I were looking closer at this was taking on that S shape, the more of a hook look to it in Coulee Springs. And sure enough, right there, yep, you got some rotation and some strong rotation at that near Coulee Springs, near Chesney, near Mayo. This is pushing off toward the east. It's in the northeastern part of Spartanburg County. So just to repeat, in Spartanburg County and Cherokee County, you are under an active tornado warning right now. You need to be seeking shelter. You need to be getting to your safe place, which is the interior part of your home, away from those windows, away from doors. You do not need to be traveling. This is near Buck Creek Speedway, Mayo, Grassy Pond, and then the Cherokee Super Speedway. All right, so watching that closely there as this is moving on through the area. Getting word here that this is a dangerous situation here just northeast of Boiling Springs. This is moving towards you folks in Chesney. Can't stress it enough, Chesney. Get to your safe place right now near Mayo. This is crossing over, and this does include the southern parts of, it appears, Polk County and Rutherford County, as this line is kind of pushing off in a fashion right here near the state line and near the county line of Cherokee and Spartanburg counties, right in there. Notice how it took on that S shape right in there. It's this hook that's trying to outrun the other part of the storm. That's the dangerous part. And folks in Chesney and in Mayo, you need to be seeking shelter. Right there is where that potential tornado is. Cedric, if we can zoom into street level, let's get as close as we can here into Chesney. Looks like a very dangerous situation here across Spartanburg County. Please get to your safe space right now. Yeah, if you have a basement, that's great. Again, a busy time of day as after-school activities are going on right now. Got this potential rotation. There's Fish Camp Road. There's Turkey Farm Road, okay, overhead bridge right in these areas. You need to be seeking shelter in Chesney, overhead bridge roads just west of Highway 221. All right, anywhere along 221. There's from perspective where you're at, really close in on street level. That's some technology that we have here to keep you safe. A close-in look at Chesney and Spartanburg County where the potential of that tornado would be moving through. You need to be seeking shelter right now as that line is moving into Cherokee County very, very quickly. Downtown Chesney, you need to be seeking shelter in these areas as this is rolling on through. As we're looking at that very, very closely there in parts of Spartanburg County, Cherokee County as well. Highway 221, please get to your safe place right in here. All right, Chesney, hope you're there. Now let's put a storm track on this. We'll first give you that.
The National Weather Service in Greenville, Spartanburg has issued a tornado warning for southeastern Rutherford County in western North Carolina, southern Cleveland County in the Piedmont of North Carolina, northeastern Spartanburg County in upstate South Carolina, northern Cherokee County in upstate South Carolina, until 4:45 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. At 4:01 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located 13 miles north of Spartanburg, or near Chesney, moving east at 45 miles per hour. Hazard, tornado. Source, radar indicated rotation. Impact, Flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows, and vehicles will occur. Tree damage is likely. This dangerous storm will be near Gaffney around 4:20 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Shelby, Earl, Patterson Springs, Blacksburg, and Boiling Springs, North Carolina around 4:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Grover, Kings Mountain, Crowder's Mountain State Park, and Winkle around 4:40 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Other locations impacted by this dangerous thunderstorm include Cliffside and Henrietta. A brief, weak tornado is likely. Mobile homes could be flipped. Falling trees can cause death or serious injury and major damage to houses. Move to a basement or an interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy building. Please report damaging winds, hail, or flooding to the National Weather Service Greenville Spartanburg by calling toll-free 1-800-267-8101 or by posting on our Facebook page or tweet it using hashtag NWSGSP.
Place right now. Ralph Chandler, Fork Shoals, Fountain Inn, Ellen Woodside, Sioux Cleveland, Woodmont Middle, Woodmont High, Bryson Elementary, and Bryson Middle. Those areas are sheltering in place right now, along with Golden Strip CDC, Hillcrest Middle, Hillcrest High, Plain Elementary, and Rudolph Gordon schools. Those are the ones in Greenville County that continue to shelter in place due to this potential tornado on the south side. And again, we've got this rotation, this little couplet that's trying to take shape right in here as this tail end of the line, literally the tail right here, trying to wrap up here. And that's where the wind is feeding into this storm, as we've got an active possible tornado here near Honeypath heading toward parts of Princeton, Hickory Tavern, and Fountain Inn. So again, in Greenville County, you've been under some degree of a warning. It can be a little bit confusing because we had that original storm that was in the northern part of the county. Now the southern part of the county under an active tornado warning as this is rolling on through parts of Honeypath, heading towards you folks in Donald. So let's do a storm track in here as we look at the rotation. And right in there is where the storm is trying to kind of outrun itself. And this little tail end of it's where we're seeing the most dangerous part. So Kiwi there in Abbeville County, Blue Heaven at 4:23, Ware Shoals Dragway at 4:25, and then Poplar Springs by about 4:28. This is where the most dangerous part of the storm is. We got some active rotation in that as it moves just south of Honeypath, south of Princeton right here, and heads up Lawrence County. Okay, you're not under a warning right now, but if this type of rotation that we're seeing in this does continue, you need to be seeking shelter. You need to be getting your ideas and your plans in place in Lawrence and Enoree and parts of northern Lawrence County as well, as this, if it continues on its same path, would be knocking on the door in Princeton by 4:14, Gray Court by 4:31, Lawrence by 4:42, and then West Springs by 5:03. So this indicating to us that we've got some rotation in these areas. We've been watching this very closely. This morning, the new models came out and showed that we've got the potential of the strong storms today. This a little bit earlier with the very warm air that we have in place, to kind of taking advantage of the 80-degree difference or 80-degree temperatures in the southern part of the upstate compared to the 60-degree temperatures in the northern part. That allowing for us to see some rotation in these areas. And right along the county line here in Spartanburg and in Cherokee County, we've got the possibility of an active tornado on the ground right here. We are still seeing this bow segment here. It is now just southeast of you in Chesney. So it looks like downtown Chesney, the storm went just south of you here. There's 221. There's where Highway 110 meet. That's where we're seeing this rotation now entering Cherokee County. Okay, so you folks near North Green River Road, Bonner Road, parts of Battleground Tour Road, this is where the rotation is the strongest here in Cherokee County, and it's moving toward the east-northeast at about 50 miles per hour. This is booking it, okay? You need to be in your safe place right there in parts of Cherokee County, and sure enough, right there's that notch. This part of the segment is kind of bowing out, pushing out right there, and that's where we could have the possible tornado here right along the intersection of Highway 110 and Highway 11. This is pushing toward downtown Gaffney. All right, want to go ahead and let you know right there on the extreme eastern parts of Abbeville County, Lawrence County, and Greenwood County. So Ware Shoals, you're kind of in the thick of it right now. You need to be seeking shelter in Ware Shoals as this dangerous weather is moving on through these areas. You got winds that are going toward the radar at about 40 miles per hour and winds that are going away from the radar site right here, very strong as well near Highway 184. So this is where the rotation is near MacArthur's Junction. And Cedric, we've been watching this line very closely. You're getting some new information there as this is at a very busy time of day as folks are traveling out and about. What do you have for us right now?
Yeah, Chris, and we're seeing that we're focusing on that storm. We're focusing on the storm up in Spartanburg County, making its way to the north and east as well. And, of course, we've got some live pictures to show you as well, I believe. So we'll take a look at some pictures here from I-85. I think this is near mile marker number 19 there, near Clemson. And you can see here, again, obviously traffic slow and go there quite a bit there. Lots of heavy rain, visibility fairly low. And that's just kind of the impact that you're going to see today. This is a live picture from I-85 near mile marker 54. This is near Pelham Road exit there in Greenville County. But you can see on both of these here, lightning coming down, lots of heavy rainfall. You see the big difference there of where this rainfall is showing. And we'll actually take a wider view here and show you, kind of reset the stage here and let you see what's going on across the area. Because obviously we've got a lot of rain coming down across the northern half of the area. And in that rain, we're seeing some lightning and also some actually flash flooding in some spots as well, some isolated pockets, at least some ponding. You can see here on the loop here, if I put this in a loop here for you, where this activity is going, and you can kind of see the lightning strike showing up with that here. Now, if I put the radar back on and put it in a loop, you'll be able to see again here that we've got kind of two main areas we're watching. We've got a tornado warning here, basically straddling the South Carolina, North Carolina border now, but this does include you in Gaffney, between Gaffney and Shelby. And in fact, we're going to get a live little update here on the scan, and you'll be able to see that kind of what Chris has been mentioning there, that kind of S shape there, that backward shape here. And what it's showing us here is that the winds are trying to flow in like this. That's kind of feeding into the storm. And then on the back side here, that's where you get the rotation. So you know that that area there is rotating. And as we switch over to our velocity to measure the winds, you can see that's exactly where a radar is actually indicating where we could be seeing some of that rotation. Again, this is going to be north of Gaffney, just to the east of Grassy Pond. So folks over in Grassy Pond, be aware of that. Folks along Highway 18 there, this is going to be moving towards you here fairly shortly. So you're going to want to be in your safe place there, because this has been pretty consistent recently showing up here on radar. So we've got to watch that for you very closely here. But obviously some very heavy rain coming down in Boiling Springs. And we'll just check and see here. I'm not seeing much in terms of any major hail that's showing up, at least with that northern part of that line. But of course, that's something that we're going to be watching for you very closely also. Now, for folks in Spartanburg, if you're wondering what's going on there, obviously you're seeing some of that heavy rain probably coming down there. Nothing severe right now, at least there. The severe part of the storm is just to the north and east of that, but still Fairmont over towards Roebuck, you're seeing heavy rain and some gusty winds with that part of the line, and we'll keep going back towards the west and southwest. So we'll show you here for Greenville. Looks like the worst or the heaviest part of this activity now pushing east of downtown, making its way from Taylor's, Greer over towards Simpsonville right now in the thick of it. Probably pretty hard to see right now if you're driving or know someone driving along there in Simpsonville down the Gray Court. That's where we're seeing some heavy rain, and along these winds are also kind of bowing out the line in parts of it, so there are probably going to be some gusty winds. But you can see the area of concern there as you get towards Ware Shoals and off towards the north between there and Princeton here, where we're starting to see more heavier rain. And again, pretty decent signal of at least some rotation, at least in the mid-levels there, just to the south and east now of Ware Shoals. But of course, along this line, we're seeing a lot of activity. Our rotation, just isolating the rotation where we can see some rotation. Pretty strong signal there right around Ware Shoals, again, where we're kind of watching and kind of reaffirming that is an area that we definitely need to watch as that continues to make its way on off towards the east there. So again, we'll put that in motion. You can see there now about to cross over 252 in Lawrence. I would definitely be getting ready to head to my tornado safety place, because in Lawrence we've got this system here is going to be making its way towards you, and we will put a little bit more of a track on this here for you. And again, within the next 20 minutes or so or less, this will be heading towards Lawrence and over towards Mount Gallagher. So you want to get to the lowest level of your home, the most interior room, whether it be a basement, a bathroom, or a closet. Make sure you have something to cover your head with, and also make sure you take something with you to put on your feet as well. Make sure your feet are covered as well. You don't want to be stepping out any debris and you don't have any shoes on. So those are all very important things to remember as you take that safety place as well. So that's kind of the area what I'm kind of seeing right now, Chris. I know you've been looking and looking over some of this this stuff as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, the risk of severe weather extending back to our west, but right now we have a couple of storms that we're watching.
And the more immediate threat is right here over us right now, and this is one of those situations we're going to watch it all night long as this whole line has to move through our area. The greatest energy back toward the west. Just getting word, Cedric, that Greenville County schools are beginning to dismiss all buses in all schools right now very slowly. Okay, carefully while they can, okay? As this line, and the most severe part of this line is now across parts of Lawrence County, okay? We've got the active tornado warning, the most dangerous part of the storm across Lawrence County, heading toward Mount Gallagher. Madden's at about 440, Lawrence by about 444, and then Lydia Mills at about 453. So that's where the most dangerous part of the storm is right now, pushing eastbound. Watching that closely here as we've got the active tornado warning. This does include a busy stretch of Highway 385 right there, pushing out of Greenville County. So folks that work in Greenville or work in Columbia, maybe traveling back and forth, you want to urge your loved one just to stay put. You want to let this storm pass on over 385 before you try to travel on it. So Barksdale, Gray Court, southbound, down toward the Clinton area where the big Walmart distribution center is. Please don't be traveling anywhere in that area. That's where the rotation is going to be traveling over within the next 10 to 15 minutes. So again, Barksdale 431, Lawrence at 437, Lawrence County Center right there at about 443, and then Tylersville at about 445. That's near Aura, Maddens, Clinton, Joanna. The tail end of this line definitely means business. It's still got some rotation with it here as it pushes along Highway 221. So Bailey Memorial Hospital, Clinton, all within the next 15 to 30 minutes. Maddens by 441, and then Mount Gallagher by 428. This pushes quickly toward the east here. We're out on the 26 through 85 interchange. So that's where we have to exercise extra vigilance over the next 30, 45 minutes. Kind of a bigger picture look here. The warning now excludes Greenville County. So all of Greenville County completely in the clear from a tornado warning. That's the good news I have to give you for you folks in Greenville that have been under some sort of a warning now for an hour and a half as this line has ramped up as it moved on through the area right along that warm frontal boundary that separates these upper 70s and near 80 degrees in the southern part of the county to the cooler temperatures in the north. That boundary right in here appears to be where some of the strongest storms are flaring up and giving us that rotation. And that boundary here extends from Lawrence County up through Union County and Surratt and Joanna. And while our severe threat will be somewhat lower for a few hours, we've got to watch this line, usher it on out of our area, because until it completely crosses our area, we're under some degree of severe weather. This is all part of a main line that moves on through these areas, and that's where the greatest risk is for these areas here as we're watching that closely back toward the west as we're looking at this main line. It's a powerful low pressure system which is feeding in some very strong winds, what we call a low level jet, that just cranks up these winds out ahead of that, brings in some unstable, warm, muggy air out ahead of it, and this powerful low back toward the west and the front that's rolling through, creating the dangerous tornado outbreak back here toward parts of Mississippi and Alabama. We're not even in that area right now. We're on the warm front, kind of the leading edge of this. The warm front lifts north, kind of opens the door for some of those warmer temperatures that are banked up against that. And Cedric, we've seen this time and time again with these boundaries setting up where the cool air and the warm air is the focus for these storms. And that's where the caution lies right now as this cool air rushes in behind it. That really cranks up these winds right in here. We've got that active tornado warning here for parts of Cherokee County. And this is where the most dangerous part of the storm is. The latest update here from the Storm Prediction Center has the highest risk, a very rare extreme risk for southern Middle Tennessee right in here. Parts of Alabama down toward Birmingham, these areas in the extreme danger for tornadoes. We've got multiple tornado warnings back toward the west and one out ahead of it that's taking advantage of this storm fuel, which is basically a little arm of it stretching up into our area right along the I-85 corridor. And this is where the most volatile weather lies, is right in here. And as this line pushes through, it's scooping up some of that storm fuel and putting it in areas that are allowing this storm to continue to ramp up and basically fluctuate. Goes up and it goes down, and that's where we're seeing it move on through. So we've got that storm fuel in place and two active dangerous conditions right here where the tornado ingredients are kind of overlapping with that warm and unstable air. Cherokee County, parts of Cleveland County, and then again now isolating specifically you folks in Lawrence County and Union County. You're under that tornado warning here. You are not under a tornado warning in Greenville County. You can carefully come out of your safe place. I want to let you know that, but we do have multiple areas that are trying to rotate along along this line. Let's start south and work our way toward the north here. Lawrence County, we've got this active rotation that is showing up here on live Super Doppler 4 HD. Now east of you folks in Ware Shoals, just east of you, okay, stay in your safe place for a minute or two longer as this moves toward Lawrence. That's where the greatest threat lies, with the wind that's going away from the radar right here, the wind that's going toward our radar right there. Looks like Madden's parts of Lawrence County near Highway 76 and 221 heading right for you folks in Lawrence. Okay, please be careful in this area of Lawrence County as you head toward the 385 I-26 interchange, right in there near the Walmart Distribution Center, downtown Lawrence, downtown Clinton. You need to be in your safe place, as Cedric is isolating just specifically the rotation in this. Ecom at 431, Lawrence at 443, Wattsville by 445, and then Goodwin's Crossroads at about 452. So watching this closely here as this potential tornado moves off toward the north and east. You've got that tail end of that line right here. We've also seen some indication here in parts of Spartanburg County that this line is trying to kind of ramp up. At least the winds are, and that's the kind of the start of what could give us some rotation, as the line itself starts to ramp up and punches a little appendage out, which would be basically a little arm of that line punching out and outrunning another part of the line, which gives us the potential of an active tornado, which is what we see down toward Lawrence. Watching that rotation across Spartanburg County, not much kind of jumping off the board right now at us, but in live Super Doppler 4 HD examines the Cleveland County, Cherokee County line. This line right here indicating to us still some strong rotation right along the I-85 corridor northbound, right along the state line, just southwest of Earl in Cherokee County, north of Gaffney, north of the Peach right there. These winds are going away from the radar. These winds are going toward our radar. So this rotation lies right in here, right along Highway 18. So if you know friends or family that live along Highway 18, going out of Cherokee County into parts of Cleveland County and North Carolina, you want to get on the horn and give them a call right now. Let them know that a dangerous storm is over them right now. And you can see as we look at another tool in live Super Doppler 4 HD, this is where the rain is the heaviest. That tells me right in there. That's where that line is out extending ahead of that, while this one is going in. The winds are going into this part of the storm. So that's where a potential tornado lies right now, right along the South Carolina, North Carolina state line. Farther south, you've got those winds that are ramping up as well, all along this line here in Patterson Springs and Earl. This is pushing towards South Cleveland School, Earl, New Buffalo Church, Allen Memorial Church here within the next 15 to 30 minutes. All in these areas right along the Cherokee and Cleveland County lines, along North Carolina, South Carolina state line, leaving Gaffney. So this is moving north and east toward Gaston County, parts of York County, and then heading toward the Charlotte metro area within the next hour or two. We've also got this rotation now setting up shop in Lawrence County. A little bit of rotation in Fountain Inn, but we'll look at that in just a moment. The greatest concern lies in basically two areas of this line that's moving on through, is two areas are trying to punch out ahead of the other part of the line. The greatest rotation here just west of Lawrence downtown right here. Here's Highway 176, and right there indicates where we've got the strongest winds along Anderson Drive in Lawrence County. Here's Highway 76 as this moves into downtown Lawrence. South Carolina 252 right in here as it rolls on through these areas as this line is pushing east. You've got winds that are going away from our radar site at about 60 miles per hour and winds that are going toward our radar site at about 40 miles per hour. So this rotation right here, quite strong right now, and we're watching it over Lawrence County. Let's put a track on this close in town, giving you an idea minute by minute where this rotation will be heading here across Anderson Drive, heading into downtown Lawrence. You need to be getting into the most interior part of your building. This will be near Collier Park at about 4:37 as this continues to move up toward Highway 14 in Lawrence County near Wattsville. This is pushing off toward the east-northeast at about 40 miles per hour. So Lawrence District High School, okay, this is heading right towards you. Lawrence Middle School, Lawrence Primary School, all indicating to us that you could be in the path of this dangerous storm with a potential tornado rolling through these areas here within the next 30 minutes or so. So watching that closely here. And getting word here from Spartanburg County, some good news here as you are wondering where your loved ones are, kind of where things stand there. Getting word after Spartanburg County was under a tornado warning, at least two, for the past 2 hours or so. Spartanburg Districts 2 and 6, that's Spartanburg Districts 2 and 6 are announcing that all buses are returning to the schools where the students were sheltering in place, okay? Officials say all dismissals will stop until the warning has passed. And now good news here that warning has passed here in Spartanburg County. So So getting word from districts 2 and 6 that all the buses are returning to the school where the students were sheltering in place. So dismissal will start to go home. A complicated process here as this all ramped up, as some buses were already out. I know it's definitely an afternoon that nobody had wanted as we go throughout the area here. You're wondering where your grandchild is, your loved one. Spartanburg districts 2 and 6 are saying the school buses are now returning. They're going to start that dismissal process very soon. Okay, so the most dangerous part of that storm that rolled over Spartanburg County, now moving toward Cherokee County. We still got a tremendous amount of rain and lightning out there. Here's our WYFF sky cam looking toward downtown Spartanburg. You can hardly see downtown as heavy as the rain is. So certainly some dangerous conditions out in those areas as we're watching that very, very closely roll into these areas. So we need to watch this whole line as it rolls on through. Active tornado warning in parts of Spartanburg County. Here's our Lawrence sky cam giving us a great look at this. A dangerous storm here across Lawrence County. Downtown Lawrence, where we're looking at here, this looks off toward the west, and that's where we could potentially have a tornado. You see the low clouds, you see that storm. This is the potential rotating thunderstorm that's moving toward our camera right here in downtown Lawrence, okay? Let's get on down toward this cell in Lawrence County. We need to be watching this very, very closely here across Lawrence County. An active tornado warning in place, a dangerous situation for downtown Lawrence, and the tornado warning and that rotating part of the storm basically right over downtown Lawrence. We're going to check in with our camera here in just a moment because that's going to give us a great look at where that potential is for the storm across downtown Lawrence there. Anderson Drive, that's where the rotation is the strongest, right over Lawrence. It's moving right towards you here, right on top of you as this rotating part of the thunderstorm is extending into downtown Lawrence. So please seek shelter, get to the most interior part of your business, your home, your workplace, away from windows, and please do not be traveling in Lawrence, in Clinton, along Highway 385 or 26 there in Lawrence County. Okay, please be careful in these areas. A very dangerous situation with an active tornado warning in place here. We've got 2 active tornado warnings here. This one in Lawrence County stretching into Union County. As we put a track on this, we can give you a town-by-town look at where this is heading as the lower end of this is starting to roll on through very, very quickly, pushing toward Whitmire, parts of Cross Keys, Clinton, and Tylersville, all within the next 15 to 30 to 45 minutes. Okay, so please be careful in these areas as this line is pushing up toward the north and east. An active tornado warning in these areas, and where the green and the red are meeting right here, the most dangerous side of the storm. The winds right here out ahead of Lawrence going toward our radar site at about 50 miles per hour. The winds right here on the backside of it going away from our radar site. Near Calhoun Street, going into downtown Lawrence, there's a 50-mile-per-hour wind going away from the radar. And here are these winds feeding toward the radar at about 40 miles per hour. So this shear, as we call it, the rotating of the winds, quite strong here across Lawrence County as we've got that rotating column of air and potentially a tornado near Lawrence. Let's take a look at that sky cam if we can again, as we've got that dangerous condition right over downtown Lawrence near Highway 76 that's pushing on through. And if that's an update here, that is a rain-soaked camera. We've got the rain kind of locked in. That's what makes these situations so dangerous. You saw just a moment ago, we could see the sky cam over Lawrence very clearly. Now that rain is over you. So this could very well be a rain-wrapped tornado, and very likely is. If it is on the ground, you will not be able to see it. That's where the danger is now, just south and east of downtown Lawrence, heading toward Calhoun Street. We saw that as it rolled on through parts of Main Street there in Lawrence. Now it's on Highway 76 headed toward Hilldale Avenue, Calhoun Street, over toward the east here as we're watching this line move on through very, very carefully. So please get to your safe spot in downtown Lawrence and parts of Clinton. This is moving into the eastern parts of Lawrence County minute by minute right now. Latest word is that this storm is rolling at about 45 to 50 miles per hour, so it's booking it toward the east. You do not want to be traveling in this. If you have friends or family in parts of Lawrence County or even anywhere in the state that could be traveling along 385 or 26 in Lawrence County, you want to urge them just to stay put. So Lawrence Speedway at 440, Northside Church at 441, Wattsville there at 441, and then Lawrence County Center at about 444. That's where the most dangerous weather is right now as we're watching this roll on through the area here. So parts of Wattsville, Lawrence County near the downtown area, the county offices is about 444. Within 5 minutes or so, this is going to be rolling through. We just saw it on our Skycam here across downtown Lawrence, rolling toward Calhoun Street, rolling toward Highway 76, near Tool Shed Road, heading toward parts of Clinton and parts of southern Union County. Wattsville southbound, that's where the danger lies right now and the most dangerous weather is located as it moves off toward the east. Again, our radar indicating the rotation still quite strong. Winds, out ahead of this right here going into about 53 miles per hour. And we've got the 30-mile-per-hour winds as it rolls on through these areas. So 2 active tornado warnings across the area right now. In these areas, a potential tornado in Lawrence County and then a potential tornado in Cherokee County. Let's get a big picture look at this, what's going on right now. For those of you that are watching us in Union County, you're seeing at the top of your screen the crawl, the warning right there indicating we've got this rotation in Cherokee County right along the state line and Cleveland County and parts of Cherokee County. And then we've got the tail end of this line, which is rotating in a strong fashion here near downtown Lawrence, pushing east toward Clinton, and very strong rotation. Cedric, that's some of the strongest rotation we've seen over Lawrence right there, and our Skycam caught it as it passed just south of downtown, a strategic place there in Lawrence County, as that cell now sits right south of Wattsville right there. And getting into street level here, you're indicating this is going toward Highway 76. That appears to be where the most dangerous part of the storm is. And getting into street level here, there's where Highway 76 and what is that road right there, Cedric? That
is Hardin Road.
Hardin Road.
Oh, yeah. Hardin Road and Fairgrounds Road and over towards Lawson.
Yeah, right there. That's where the strongest rotation is, just south and east of downtown Lawrence. We saw it move through minute by minute right now, and that's where we continue to indicate that that line near Fairgrounds Road, Highway 76, anywhere in this area just south of Wattsville, just east of Lawrence, indicating to us we got some rotation there. Also, looks like some rotation trying to kind of ramp up right here along the 385-26 interchange. Watching that closely there. Watching that.
Looks like that one, that's the rotation that just moved out of Lawrence there, making its way over. Huh?
Right along the 26 interchange there. Very busiest part of the road there. Yep, right there. Compton Road, parts of Little Texas Road, Godwin's Crossroads right in there near 26 and 385 interchange. Our winds indicating that this is going away from the radar at about 60 miles per hour, and the winds going toward the radar at 40 miles per hour. This could very well be a tornado right there near Leesville Church Road. Let's get a track on this close in here as this rolls on toward the interchange there. If you're familiar with this, you travel up from the south and along I-26. That's where 385 veers off as you're getting closer to Greenville County. This is where that's going to cross over right here in these areas near the Walmart Distribution Center where 385, 26 meet. You can take 26 going up towards Spartanburg. You take 385 going into Greenville County. So Long Branch Church by 444 any minute now. That's where that rotation is the strongest as it rolls on through the area. Getting some good news here in Cherokee County. The tornado warning has been canceled. We're going to see that one expire any second now. So good news in Cherokee County. That warning will be allowed to expire here across Blacksburg. So you can safely come out of your safe place in Cherokee County near Gaffney and Blacksburg. This warning will expire any minute. The greatest concern right now lies across Lawrence County, heading into Union County, and yeah, that's taking on a stronger look here as this line is pushing on through. You need to be getting to your safe place there in Clinton. This is a dangerous storm which is fluctuating up. We've been watching 2 areas of rotation here. This one has been the predominant one that moved right over downtown Lawrence and now is over Clinton northbound right along the 26-385 interchange. If you're familiar with that area, that's a very busy stretch of the interstate, and that's where the strongest rotation is right now, just south of Goodwin's Crossroad. This is heading toward the east at about 50 miles per hour. That's where the winds are going away from our Doppler radar. Our winds are going toward the Doppler radar, and this is heading toward the Union County line near Antioch Church and Filson's Crossroads at about 451. So very strong rotation in these areas, pushing toward the east, northeast at about 50 miles per hour. And that strong rotation right there, Cedric, near Clinton. That's been the kind of a flare up right there as we've seen this line kind of fluctuate up and down.
Yes, that's correct, Chris. And of course, we've been monitoring that because it took on more of a line, and we were saying, you know, we got to watch it because all it takes is for it to wrap up just a little bit, and then you get that wind coming in, and so that's what's happening. So it's really interesting to see because it's kind of riding along that boundary, as you mentioned there, that's kind of separating things. You see the yellow showing the warmer temperatures, the green showing the cooler temperatures, and right along that boundary there, when you start to bring in some of that warmer air, it's almost like when you take your car out and you're running on E, you're running on fumes, and you put fresh fuel in there, the car runs better. The more gas you have in there, the car runs better. Same thing with these storms. We're seeing that because they're basically refueling, and now that they're tapping into more warmer air that's not been kind of rain contaminated yet or cooled down because of the rain, we're seeing the storms start to ramp back up again, and that's what's happening here. And so we're watching that. So we're seeing a very strong indications of rotation showing up here, and you can see that is what we call a couplet, or basically, again, we talked about this before, when green meets red, of course, you get under the bed, but that's basically what we're looking at. The wind is coming together here. We're seeing winds going in this way, and we're seeing winds coming out this way, and that's what we call rotation. And so what we can tell is the radar is able to basically detect the raindrops. So what it's doing is it's measuring the direction at which the raindrops are falling. So when the raindrops are falling one direction this way and falling another direction this way, that close together, then the air has to be rotating or turning from different directions, and that's what we're seeing. So that's how we can determine where there is actually rotation, is actually by detecting where the rain is being detected on radar. So that's what the radar is doing, and it is showing us that there is a strong indication of rotation. So right now we're talking about folks here on Leesville Church Road, folks over on Compton Road. You need to be in your safe place because this is going to be moving off towards the east and northeast. So Pool Road over just south of Goodwin Crossroads there, you're probably seeing some strong winds, but the rotation is just to your south. But Frontage Road over towards Dogwood Lane, all those areas need to be concerned about that as well as this continues to move on through. But again, this storm is showing some decent rotation, decent structure. Again, that is a couplet there, and again, we can put a track on this for you just to give you an idea of some of the areas to definitely be concerned about here in the short term. And again, Long Branch Church Road area and Long Branch Church is kind of be the main kind of source there. But we can flip over to the regular mode of the radar, and something else I want to point out to you, yeah, that's heavy rain over Goodwin Crossroads, but I can almost guarantee you that's also some hail that's coming down there right along Highway 49 there in that pink shaded area here. I could almost tell you that we've got some hail showing up with that, and in fact here I'm going to switch over to another product here just to give you an idea of where that hail is showing up here. And again, you'll be able to see here that continues to make its way on off towards the north and east. So as we check in again in Lawrence here downtown, we'll pull up the camera. You can see the visibility has improved quite a bit now that the storm has moved out there. But you can see areas there in the background. We saw what was most likely probably at least a wall cloud that was stretching down, and we couldn't see below that, but you got the idea that there was a decent structure moving through with that storm when it made its way on through. But again, these storms are seeing just a little bit of fuel coming in because they're tapping into some warmer air that's just to the south. But right now, I would say over areas just north of Clinton here, that is probably a pretty large hail core showing up here that's moving. And we can put a track on that there for you just to give you an idea of. You need to maybe make sure if you have a garage, put your car in the garage. Folks over in Tylersville and points to the north and east of that, just keep in mind this is going to be moving your way here. But that whole entire storm is definitely developing a better structure, and it's not so linear anymore. And it looks like there, if you look closely there, Chris, over there towards just south of Clinton there, maybe a little bit more of an appendage trying to make its way back there again. So you can kind of see kind of the areas to be watching out for there. That's just right along Springdale Drive there, where we've got that potential rotation that may be showing up, and we turn on velocity there, and you can kind of see closely there that we're watching that area here, and our rotation tracker showing that closer towards the 385 corridor. But either way, that area, that storm has definitely got a specific shape to it.
It sure does, Cedric. Yeah, a great analysis there. I mean, I'll tell you that this part of the line here can kind of take on a life form of its own. When one area gets going, it's kind of hard to stop it. That's what starts that rotation. You get those strong winds that try to outrun another part of the line, and then you got this part that slows down, and it starts to kind of wrap up. And when you get that, this is taking on a dangerous look for you folks in Clinton. Could very well be a tornado on the ground there, as we saw at least that wall cloud from our sky cam there in Lawrence County as it rolled on through the area just south of downtown. So the most most dangerous part of this storm now moving toward Witten Village Training School, Neighbors Crossroads, Reno, and then Odell Church, the historical site there at about 4:05. This is moving quickly at about 50 miles per hour, and that rotation, the strongest now as you look at parts of Clinton. As we roll on through Filson Crossroads here, lots of lightning associated with this, so that just shows you the volatility of the air mass, and as Cedric mentioned, the warm air kind of feeding this storm, and we're seeing that as lightning is kind of an indication of how a storm is performing and the strength of it as this line pushes off toward the east near Highway 72. If this continues on its same path, it'll be heading towards you folks in Union County near Cross Keys, Clinton up through Filson Crossroads. Some very strong storms rolling up toward that area. Watching it closely for you folks in southern Union County. You are included in that tornado warning near Reno, Sedalia, Whitmire, and Whitmire High School. So all of these areas in a dangerous situation that could potentially see a tornado. And again, Cedric was mentioning that rotation. We got basically two areas of concern here across Clinton as that line is kind of outrunning another part of it. That would give us that rotation. And look at these winds. They look like they're stronger there, Cedric, here. Yeah. As the winds are going away from the radar site right there, and the winds are going toward it. This could very well be, yeah, look at that, 70+ mile-per-hour winds. This is a dangerous situation here. We've got some strong rotation here. You got 70 miles per hour going this way, 50 going that way, and that's as this part of the line slows down and kind of backs up, and you get that rotation as it starts to kind of come together there near Filson Crossroads. So here's Highway 72. This would be just east of the I-26 corridor, and there's the split right there as 26 goes up toward the north toward Spartanburg. There's where 385 goes toward Greenville County. A decent hail core right here, and this is taking on more of a dangerous look here across these areas along Highway 56. Some large hail near Filson Crossroads. That's heading toward the southern end of Sedalia. Right along the Highway 72 corridor. Do not be traveling in this activity there in Lawrence County. A very dangerous situation as it pushes east right along the Lawrence County, Union County line, just south of you folks in Cross Keys. So watching that closely as we've got some strong indications here that there's some rotation in this cell right here. This could very well be a tornado in Lawrence County, north of Joanna, near Clinton, as it pushes off toward the east, right along the 26 corridor. So very dangerous situation right here as this pushes off toward the east in these areas. As we look at this in 3 dimensions, yeah, great look right there. You got the hail core and the potential that this could be a tornado here, taking on a very classic structure look right there, Cedric, as this is a dangerous storm on the tail end of it, and those tail ends of those lines can sometimes give us the greatest rotation, and right there, that could be a possible tornado as we look at these strong winds. A classic structure right there as we look at this in 3 dimensions, a very dangerous side of the storm. This could be a tornado touching the ground right there near Highway 72 as we look at the core of this storm. Kind of inside of it, you see those greens and those reds. You got that storm tightening up and rotating down. That very well could be the indication of a tornado on the ground north of Highway 72 as this storm moves on through. Classic structure there, Cedric, as this is rolling on through these areas, pushing quickly toward Lawrence County, toward the north and east. We need to be careful in this storm. It looks like this one is ramping up. Could very well be a tornado on the ground in Clinton, in Lawrence, pushing toward Union County, right along the county line right there, as this is taking on a classic look of a dangerous type situation right here. So Witten Village Training School, Neighbors Crossroads, and then Reno, Odell Church. This is a dangerous situation, a potential tornado right now. You need to be getting to your safe place right now. The interior-most part of your home near Joanna, near Clinton. This moving right along Highway 72, just near the I-26 corridor right here in Clinton. So we got some very strong winds right here, indicated by live Super Doppler 4 HD in Clinton, 70+ miles per hour. And it appears the strongest rotation lies right in here as the wind is going toward the radar in green, and the wind is going away from the radar here. This is the strongest part of it at about 40, 50 miles per hour. So 100 miles per hour, you know, this is a strong rotation in these areas just east of I-26 right here, right along the 72 corridor, and this is about to cross the county line into Union County. So Filson Crossroads near Filson Road itself, near Barrel, let's see, what is that?
Stave Road.
Barrel Stave Road. Yeah, there you go. Barrel Stave Road. Thank you, Cedric. This is moving quickly toward the east right here, and a dangerous structure right here, Price Drive. You're in the path of this potential tornado that could be moving through any minute, and live Super Doppler 4 HD giving us an instant look at where this could possibly be. This could very well be a tornado on the ground right now. And look at that. Yeah, our live Super Doppler 4 HD going a little overboard here on the rotation. We get the picture. Yeah, look at this, some rotation. This takes everything off of Doppler radar with the rotation only. And right here is where that rotation, the most dangerous part of the storm is. Filson Crossroads. So we're looking at it in multiple different ways, telling you here in Lawrence County, this could very well be a tornado on the ground as it rolls on through. Looking for potential debris that could be lofted up into the clouds with this as the storm rolls on through. This is a dangerous situation in Clinton and northeast into Lawrence County, right along the county line here into Union County. And this being fed, as Cedric has been mentioning, we've been watching this temperature differential here. We got 60s in green to the north. We got 80s in the darker oranges right there to the south. A warm front lifting north into our area, allowing for this dangerous weather and very volatile boundary right here that's setting up as this line is pushing off toward the east. The warm front right in these areas here across Union County. South of that, some very warm, unstable air working in. This provides the twisting and turning. That boundary kind of sets up shop and allows basically the train tracks for these storms to roll on through. New tornado warning right here does include Clinton, Joanna eastbound into Union County. Watching that threat very closely here as you got this former tornado warning is going to start to filter off. A new tornado warning here goes until 5:30. This includes Lawrence County into Union County, Cross Keys, Union, south of Lockhart. This does include Carlisle for our friends to the east in Chester County. This includes that area. A very sound structure here with a potential tornado on the ground. A dangerous situation in Reno, parts of Sedalia and Delta 520, Carlisle by 526. You need to be getting to the most interior part of your home, your business, and do not travel in this type environment. There's I-26 right here. This is now just east of the corridor right there. Clinton, you're now out of the worst of it. This is pushing off toward the east near Filson Crossroads. Right in there is where the strongest rotation lies. The south part of town, just north of Highway 72. This is going to cross into Union County, near Sedalia, parts of Cross Keys, right along the county line here very soon. So you folks on Mount Pleasant Church, near the historic site there at Odell Church, and then Spring Hill Church by 504. Please get to your safe place. Do not be traveling in this. Stay away from doors and windows. You want to be in an interior part of your home. Crank the TV up as loud as you can. Perella, Cedric, and myself, we're going to keep you up to date minute by minute through this storm. And more importantly, we'll let you know when you can come out of your safe place, because I know this is a stressful situation for you. You're trying to get home to your loved ones. You've been working all day. You're worried about your kids. Okay, let's get you through this storm here across the Union County, Lawrence County line as the wind is going away from our radar site right here, pushing out ahead right there. And then you've got the winds that are going toward our radar site right there. Some very strong rotation in these areas, and that's where the most dangerous part of the storm lies right now. 4:57, just before 5 o'clock is where we sit right now. You got some strong wind shear in here as those winds are wrapping up. They're rotating, and this tornado warning goes until 5:30 for Union County, parts of Lawrence County, eastbound. Very strong rotation in these areas. So that's what we're watching right in here as we've been kind of using some of our tools to analyze inside of these storms. It gives us an instant look at where it is and where it's behaving, where those strongest winds are, and kind of the structure of these storms, because this is a very volatile air mass that's in place. As we're watching this roll on through, some strong winds, you can almost see that wrapping into the storm right there as we're looking at that on all sides as this is rolling through very quickly here as we sit just before 5 o'clock. Many are getting out of school right now. Many are getting out of work as we look at this, all sides of the storm in 3 dimensions. Certainly a dangerous look to this storm as it is kind of taking on a supercellular type look as it's rotating into that storm. And the bottom side of that storm, Cedric, always the most volatile to, or most vulnerable to that rotation because it's kind of out by itself.
Yeah, that's right, Chris. And you know, it's really interesting looking at this on that 3D form. You can really see all of what you were just saying there in this storm right now. If you look at it on the 3D scan here, we've got the area where the rotation could be here on the southern side or the eastern side of this cell, and that's what we tell you to watch out for, where you have that hook, that indentation, where you see the reds and the yellows kind of get pushed back in a little bit. That's where the rotation could be. But you see this area where we have kind of like this area of color of just dark black that's showing up there. That's an indication of some hail that's likely basically suspended aloft in the storm. So there's a hail core there aloft in the storm. And eventually that hail core will get so large that it will eventually fall to the ground because it just gets heavy enough. It can't hold all of that ice there into the sky. So watching both that, but we're also watching on the south side of that for that potential of rotation showing up as well. And then, of course, we're just keeping an eye on that potential couplet where basically the green and the red comes together, and that's the area, of course, that we've been talking about where that potential tornado could be. So still a very strong sign of that, indication of that just to the north and west of Whitmire, making its way off towards the north and east. We can kind of make that kind of move a little bit for you along just Highway 72 now, really approaching the northern side of Whitmire now along 176 there. This will be making its way into your area fairly shortly. I'll stop this and again just kind of highlight the area that we're watching. Winds going toward the radar here, winds going away from the radar here, so that rotation just along or just north of the 72 corridor, not too far away from the Whitmire area. So that's kind of the main area of concern. But again, along with that, we're also seeing a pretty decent hail core showing up. And again, the tornado warning has been extended into Newberry up through 5:30 because this storm is moving at about 45, 50 miles per hour. So putting a track on that. Again, you can kind of see Whitmire over towards Carlisle and Cool Branch, eventually over towards Chester. This storm will be moving your way. And as we get a little more wide view of what's going on across the rest of the area, you can kind of see that's pretty much the storm of concern right now. We've been watching up and down this line. We've had warnings both in North Carolina, along the South Carolina border, down along 85, and now this is kind of pushed down towards the south. And that's because if you look at the temperatures, you can see that there's almost like a little boundary there. It's more warm and unstable there. And notice where that boundary lines up from Lawrence over towards Union and up towards Charlotte. That's where the warm area is. Notice the cooler, more rain-cooled and stable air back to the north and west here along the 85 corridor. So the greatest severe weather threat concern is going to lie basically right here across portions of Lawrence and Union and down to the south and east. Now that's going to be the focus at least in the near term, but as we kind of maybe pull out the view a little bit more and show you what's going on, the main storm system is off to the west, and you can see that warm air streaming up there in Louisiana and Mississippi. That's ahead of the main cold front itself. So as we go throughout the evening hours, more of this air will kind of reload. Basically, we'll see more warm and unstable air reload across the area, and that will lead to more of a storm threat as we go into the evening hours. So let me actually put the radar on, and I'll show you this a little bit better by looking at the radar. You'll see all the warnings off towards the west. We've got severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings over Alabama, and now notice over northwestern Georgia there's also tornado warnings showing up as well. So looks like the atmosphere is reloading again across Georgia and into Alabama, and we're seeing more of these storms firing up. So we'll go in a little closer there and show you that. And you can see again here what we're looking at here over the past hour. Basically, that warm front lifting north is pretty active along that, but we've got more warnings back into Alabama and Tennessee and Mississippi. So the atmosphere is going to kind of recharge itself a little bit. So once we get rid of this tornado warning, then we'll have to watch to the west and southwest for more storms to try to fire up and more of that warmer, unstable air to try to build back in across the area as well. So again, going back across our region, you can see here, again, we're looking pretty good overall. Again, notice that we're watching the one storm here that's continuing to kind of give us fits here now, moving out of Lawrence and heading towards Union County now. And we're seeing the structure change a little bit on that storm, but as we put in the velocity, measure the winds, still showing somewhat of a indication of rotation there. Again, just to the west and northwest of Whitmire now, making its way along the 72 corridor here would be where we place that here, kind of right in this area here, and that's going to be kind of the area where that rotation may be right now. And just checking a couple of rotation products, yeah, it matches up with isolating that rotation there, kind of in that same area there. So, Chris, I don't know if you had anything else you want to chime in there with lately, but that kind of looks like the area of most concern that we're watching right now. And where the rotation is the strongest right now.
Great report, Cedric. We're watching that rotation over Lawrence County. Just getting some reports here of some downed trees in Lawrence County, right where we saw that rotation go on through. So at the very least, some very strong winds moved right through downtown Lawrence and then through Clinton, where we've got some trees on the roads in some of those areas. So watching that very closely as we look out toward Union County. This is next in line. Here is the county line here from Lawrence into Union County. That's where the strongest signature is here in what looks to be some very large hail or some very, very heavy rainfall along Highway 176 right there. This is a dangerous look to Live Super Doppler 4 HD as this tornado warning does continue here until 5:30 as we're looking out at that. As we look out kind of a bigger picture, again, we got to look back toward the west for some of these other. They can kind of slip into our area because we still have that volatile air mass. Basically, this warm front opened the door to some more unstable air that's trying to roll on through. And again, until this line crosses our area later tonight, we're going to be on guard watching Live Super Doppler 4 HD with you, watching these storms closely as they could provide for the focus for more storms that could be on the severe side. This warm front lies right in here, and as we draw that on here, this basically opened the door to some warm, unstable air, and this is the first boundary that's the most dangerous here. Got inch-sized hail now in Lawrence County, and this low-level jet, as we call it, the winds are just cranking right here, and that's allowing for a very dangerous volatile air mass that's in place right now. Getting some reports of several trees down in the Wattsville community of Lawrence County. That matched up well with where Storm Tracker had that line. There's a very strong cell there in just north of Metro Atlanta. That does have a history as we look back toward the west. As Cedric just put the storm reports on it. This one, looks to be a very dangerous storm crossing the I-75 corridor. So again, showing you this, out of our area, but to show you that it is moving north and east. So we're going to have to watch this stuff moving out of Metro Atlanta as it rolls on through our area. Our threat for severe weather will be there, and honing in on what appears to be some damage here across Lawrence County with some very large hail, coinciding with some wind damage here across the Wattsville community of Lawrence. And that's where that hail track and the swath of the strongest storm is now moving through. So this is going to move across the county line out of Lawrence into Union County very shortly. And that hail size up around 1 inch right now. This just indicates to us the storm is strong. It is, continuing to kind of fluctuate in intensity. And that rotation kind of takes on different looks. And that's very common in these type situations as we don't have a strong signature here of a tight couplet, but we still have that rotation. Moving over Delta, near Gossan Hill, parts of Whitmire, just east of you folks in Whitmire, near the Highway 176 interchange right now as this moves toward the east. That matches up well with where our rotation has been kind of sitting over the past little bit, and that's where we're going to watch this threat very, very closely here as it moves out of Lawrence County into Union County, and that's where the current warning sits right now. Highway 176 points northeastbound. This warning goes until 5:30. You need to be seeking shelter in southern Union County, eastern Lawrence County, as this is a dangerous situation near Whitmire High School, Delta, Carlisle, all within the next 30 to 40 minutes.
National Weather Service in Greenville-Spartanburg has issued a tornado warning for East Central Lawrence County in upstate South Carolina, Central Chester County in upstate South Carolina, Southern Union County in upstate South Carolina, until 5:45 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. At 4:54 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located 15 miles east of Lawrence, or 6 miles east of Clement, moving east at 50 miles per hour. Hazard, tornado and quarter-size hail. Source, radar-indicated rotation. Impact, flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows, and vehicles will occur. Tree damage is likely. This dangerous storm will be near Rosehill State Park around 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Carlisle around 5:20 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Chester State Park around 5:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Chester and Blackstock around 5:40 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Other locations impacted by this dangerous thunderstorm include Cross Keys, Leeds, Cornwall, Sedalia, and Tuckertown. Take cover now. Move to a basement or an interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy building. Avoid windows. If you are outdoors, in a mobile home, or in a vehicle, move to the closest substantial shelter and protect yourself from flying debris. Please report damaging winds, hail, or flooding to the National Weather Service Greenville-Spartanburg by calling toll-free 1-800-267-8101 or by posting on our Facebook page or tweet it using hashtag NWSGSP. Your message should be
toward uptown Greenwood. When we look specifically at the tornado ingredients, they are growing. Now, the greatest environment for these storms, unfortunately, I mean, this is a very dangerous situation. A significant tornado outbreak possible here across parts of Alabama. They're in the very rare extreme risks for tornadoes right there in metro Birmingham, south toward Montgomery into Atlanta. And I just want to show you, just because of the bigger picture here, 1, 2, 3 active tornado warnings back toward the west, and this line is moving toward the north and the east. So plenty of tornado ingredients. Basically, this overlaps the wind energy in the atmosphere with the storm fuel, and basically that's where we're having it set up shop here right across the I-85 corridor. And these areas that are out ahead of that or behind that warm front, the warm front lifting north like this, opening up the door for some warmer, more Gulf air to move into our area, and getting a new indication here that we've got a new tornado warning for Union County. This is going to cross into Chester County, moving off toward the east along the I-77 corridor. And yeah, very strong signatures here of some hail, the potential of some strong winds, and this tail end almost looks like we could have 2 little areas here that would give us a notch or possible rotation. But the strongest north and east of Whitmire. This brand new tornado warning goes until 5:45 for Union County. This will be ushering into Chester County shortly thereafter, as this line is rushing off toward the north and east. So Whitmire continues to be where that strongest rotation is, near Delta. There's Highway 121 heading toward Carlisle and Union County. You need to be getting to your safe place right now. This is a dangerous storm rolling towards you right now at about 40 to 50 miles per hour. Highway 121 right in here will give you a storm track close in, try to hit some of these areas in Delta and in Carlisle that will be impacted by this. Gossan Hills, St. Matthew's African Methodist Episcopal Church, Jeter Chapel Methodist. Right, we're watching these all very closely here, and this is heading right towards you folks out of Whitmire, heading toward Delta, crossing now into Union County. So Carlisle, Delta, that matches up well with where that rotation is, just west of Carlisle, moving up toward the north and east. So please be careful in these areas, in Delta and Carlisle, all within the next 15 to 20 minutes. We'll be watching these areas very, very closely as it moves through Union County. And that's where the greatest signature is. You see this bow segment here, almost looks like a bow and arrow. And that's where we're getting it. It looks like we've got a new radar return that just came in, kind of indicating right in here. So the winds coming into the storm right there. The velocities will take another scan or two to come in too, but we'll get a fresh look at the way things look right here. Isolating specifically just the rotation, the most dangerous part of the storm, east of Whitmire, south and west of Delta, as this rolls on through areas like Carlisle and Leeds. Moving to these areas, find an area in your town in southern Union County as this is rolling on through. Quite a storm right now as this blasts off toward the east northeast. Slicing it in half, we got this kind of technology here that allows us to see inside the storm, to see kind of where the rotation could be. Certainly a very strong signature of a hail core here that's giving us reports of inch or greater sized hail. That's golf ball sized hail, quarter to golf ball sized hail in these areas of Lawrence County, Union County, and in Wattsville near Lawrence downtown. We've got reports of some damage in those areas of Wattsville, the Wattsville community of Lawrence. 3D radar showing we got this strong cell with a potential tornado here northeast of Whitmire heading into Union County near Delta. So a very dangerous situation with this tornado warning here in Union County until 5:45. You want to stay in your safe place. Again, we've seen schools in Greenville County and Spartanburg County get to their safe place, isolated a school where the safest place would be for these areas. Both Greenville and Spartanburg counties began dismissing when the conditions became safe as the most volatile air mass moved off toward the east. And right now we're sitting in a dangerous situation in parts of Greenville County and not letting our guard down at all. We're going to remain vigilant with this activity back toward the west, and any of this really in this warm sector here. Nothing really jumping off the board at too significant or severe, but Turnerville up through Clayton, any one of these storms with the right ingredients could quickly become severe if they start to kind of get a little bit stronger. Once they climb closer to 20,000 feet, that's when they become the most severe. So right now these storms are probably hanging out around 10,000 feet. So just some heavy rainmakers, but a tremendous amount of wind energy back here. And any one of these discrete cells are one to watch. You got one out of Athens we'll have to watch. Parts of Greenwood, this activity streaming on in. That opens the door for a very warm and unstable night tonight. The greatest energy with this storm still lies back toward Alabama. This is is all part of a warm front. This is kind of the beginning stages of this storm. And this one right here out of Atlanta has been a long track warning that we've seen kind of take place way back toward Alabama. And this is a very strong storm that has rolled out of Alabama. We've seen immediately behind that storm damage reports. So this could be a long track tornado on the ground out of Alabama into Georgia here where it sits right now. And once these storms kind of get going, as long as the environment stays conducive for that, these long track tornadoes can be on the ground for miles and miles and miles. We've seen that in tornado outbreaks before where they can travel states on the ground. And right now it appears that at the very least this is a strong supercell that has had a history of producing damage, whether it be from wind damage or a tornado, still yet to be determined. But this is a very strong cell. We've got multiple cells back toward northeast Georgia that we're watching. And then looking closer to home is our live Super Doppler 4 HD technology gives us kind of a closer look at where the strongest rotation is. The orange early detection of would be an indication of a stronger rotation. But I want to show you that's right there in Union County where we've got it back toward the west, at least some early signs of some broad rotation here out of this activity, which is why we're watching it closely for you folks. Again, nothing that jumps out to us on live Super Doppler 4 HD that there's immediate danger, but just so you know, we've got the rotation here, broad and in the middle parts of the atmosphere, but one that we will be watching right along the state line in Oconee County and Pickens County, kind of in the areas where this all started earlier this afternoon around 2:15, 2:30, and then rolled on through a busy part of the day. So we've got the green indicates to us that it's not strong rotation, it's not near the ground yet, but we'll need to watch this closely as this boundary is setting up shop across the area and could make for a very long evening for us as we're going to be watching these lines of storms that move through our area. A very dangerous air mass, very similar to what we had the same exact day last week. A similar storm, a similar pattern with this. The greatest energy, though, just to our west with this one, but as you see here, the atmosphere not minding that the energy is back toward the west. We've also got some flood concerns. The rain has come down hard and heavy in some areas for quite a while here. That's leading to ponding on the roadways, and the conditions have been dangerous there in many areas as we've seen some 4 to 5+ inches of rain in Rabun County into parts of Oconee County. So flooding certainly possible north of Walhalla as these storms are training, going over the same areas over and over again. Those oranges indicate 4 to 5 inches of rain. These reds right here in Clayton indicate possibly 6 to 7 inches of rain in the past 24 hours. So quite the soaking in these areas with creeks and rivers and streams spilling their banks. The dangerous situation continues across many areas right here as we take a bigger picture look. It's a messy board here, and it's because we've got the tornado watches back toward the west here in Middle Tennessee, stretching into Alabama. Now, as this line pushes almost north and eastbound, it's going to plow right through our area. We're going to have to watch this very, very closely here. Active tornado warnings along this line back toward the west, at least 1, 2, 3, or 4. Then we've got this active tornado warning across Union County. Let's get in closer here. We'll start with this activity across Union and Lawrence, and then kind of work our way back toward the west with the dangers. The most volatile situation here lies across Union County and Carlisle. As we turn on our high-resolution Doppler radar, this gives us a look at where that storm could possibly be. Very possible that a tornado could be right in here just south and east of Delta. A strong structure in here, and yeah, wow, look at that. Very possible that a tornado is on the ground here, or at the very least some very strong winds as we're kind of in between. We're able to access Columbia's radar, GSP's radar, and ours to kind of combine to give us 3 looks at where this rotation could be. This rotation indicating that winds are going about 40 miles per hour away from our radar, and winds right here are going toward the radar. So some degree of some very strong rotation out of Carlisle and into Chester County. So leaving Union County, going into Chester County, that's the greatest concern right here, as these areas are seeing a very dangerous situation, possible tornado in Union County, south of Carlisle, pushing off toward the south and east as this rotation as it moves on through. National Weather Service indicating too that they are seeing some of the strongest rotation and structure out of this cell that it has done in the past 45 minutes or so. You have to go back toward Lawrence when that rolled right through downtown in the Wattsville community. It's very possible that we have a tornado on the ground in Union County right now. Please get to your safe place in Carlisle, east of Delta right now. We're getting some signatures here that this is possibly a tornado on the ground right here, and the winds are going into the storm right here, and the winds are going away from our radar site right here. So a very dangerous situation in Union County. This is heading just east of Delta. Moving off toward the east very quickly here, just south of Carlisle. Very possible that we have a tornado on these streets right in here. I don't know if we can zoom into these streets. That's Highway 121 right here, and there we have it. The strongest rotation here just north of Herbert, south of Carlisle right in there near Billy Road, and there's Herbert Road where the two meet right there. This is very possible that we have a tornado on the ground. We've seen some strong structure out of all of our products here. The wind speeds estimating here near Cool Branch that we've got winds going away from our radar at about 60 miles per hour and winds going toward our radar, I should say, right in there. So watching this closely, now we're accessing, it appears, the Columbia radar, which gives us kind of an all sides look at this storm as it rolls on through the area. So watching this closely is we're able to tap into this activity right there on the Union-Chester County line. This is a very strong cell as it rolls on through these areas, and this is all part of a dangerous setup here across the area. Let's give you some perspective here across the upstate, looking specifically at the debris right in there, and that's a brighter color right in there. It could indicate to us, and what this map tells you is if there's debris lofted into the clouds, they're able to tell us if there's tree limbs or trees, any kind of debris like that lofted in. I'm not seeing anything that kind of screams out to us, but of course that's one of our tools to help us see if confirm what we're seeing on the radar. But a very strong bow segment right in here, almost looks like a bow and arrow moving into Chester County along Highway 121 just out of Carlisle in Union County. We're going to stay with this as it continues to be a warning there in Union County. As soon as that tapers off, we'll get a check-in with the news folks to see kind of where things stand with the rest of the areas we've seen these storms roll on through. Greatest rotation now lies across the south and eastern part of Union County, Carlisle. Watching this very closely here as it rolls on through southern Union County, heading into Chester County right there along the river. As this rolls on through these areas, a very dangerous situation. Here we are at 5:20. Now, to give you some perspective here, this storm has rolled on through parts of Lawrence County. Very strong signature here of a potential tornado in Union County, south of Carlisle. It ramped up back here toward Whitmire. Very possible that this was a tornado or is a tornado on the ground east of Whitmire as it moved toward Carlisle. So a very dangerous situation south and east of Union there. A flare up right in there, it appears, of a potential tornado, and that brighter color here east of Whitmire started back toward Clinton and Joanna. We saw it on our Skycam in Lawrence. It looked like possibly a wall cloud that we were able to see with that as it rolled east toward Clinton along the I-26 385 interchange, and then possibly touching down a tornado in Union County at any time along the way. But more importantly, just east of Cross Keys right there, a very bright color showed up on our Doppler radar, indicating those flare up of some very strong winds. It could be in excess of 70, 80, or even 90 miles per hour. And that's kind of where we sit right now, watching these cells across the southern end of this line. Any one of these could begin to ramp up. Greenwood County, uptown Greenwood, I should say, southbound, relatively untouched by the rain so far, and we've got some recovery, as we call it, in these areas that are seeing the rain move on out. But Greenwood County, an area that would scream out to me as kind of being a hot spot in the next couple hours, you're still sitting at about 78 to 80 degrees, while the rest of us are kind of rain cooled in a way. Plenty of storm fuel in this area, despite the rain. No matter what, you've got the wind energy combined with the storm fuel here, this arm of instability stretching into northeast Georgia, and we've got to watch this activity out of metro Atlanta, especially this warning right here. I've tracked that warning out of middle Alabama, just north of Birmingham. This thing has been on the ground for hours as it's moved on through, and that's one to watch closely as it's moving right along the I-75 corridor. It could be a long track tornado out of this one. Very dangerous supercell structure right there as Cedric combines the radar and the tornado energy here, and the ingredients as they stretch along the I-85 corridor. And now the actual track of this kind of moving up toward the north and east. So we've got a couple hours of these threats that we're going to be on guard for, because this is a dangerous situation, especially back toward the Birmingham area of Alabama. They're in the very rare area that is an extreme risk for severe weather. A newly issued tornado watch box for Middle Tennessee stretching down toward Alabama. We are not under a tornado watch. We do have that active warning. As the Storm Prediction Center issued their latest tornado threat for our area just before 3 o'clock, they did include our area into the medium category, and that was an upgrade from the morning, which kept us in the lower category. So things have kind of gotten a little bit more unstable in the past couple hours here. You see that extreme threat. That's a very rarely issued, maybe once, twice, maybe 3 times a year. Seems like here lately it's been a little bit more often the past this year and then last year, but you get the picture. Huntsville to Birmingham, kind of the bullseye for the most severe weather, this low kind of moving up like that. So the greatest energy is going to stay in these areas, but nonetheless, we're kind of on that periphery, and any one of these cells out ahead of this line, the actual front itself or the warm front, providing kind of the mechanism for some rotation. So very warm, very unstable. We still have that active tornado warning across parts of Union County. Looking closer at where that rotation is, seeing the rotation here across Union County, that is now moving into Chester County. As you turn that product back on, so if we look back toward the west, I did see that the one in Pickens County kind of giving us a look at, you got one here in Greenville County. That one doesn't look too particularly dangerous, but here this one's off by itself, and again it's kind of changed colors, which indicate to us that it's one level higher of rotation, one level more threatening. As we look at this tail end of this activity near Tallulah Falls, some broad circulation, nothing that's really screaming out too much of concern, but this is one to watch, as we do now see some mid-level rotation in Tallulah Falls, moving into Oconee County near Walhalla and Salem. This will be moving toward Jocassee and Lake Keowee, and this storm is off by itself. It's in an environment that can kind of be vulnerable to more rotation, and that can tighten up and allow us to see the potential of a touchdown of a tornado. So that would be an area that we're going to watch very closely, and actually any one of these areas out ahead of it. And there's that cell I told you about in Metro Atlanta that we've been watching back toward Alabama. That has been a tornado warned cell for quite some time now. And anywhere in this environment that is now very warm, very unstable, could begin to give us some rotation. Any one of these cells here as they move into Greenwood County, which is basically the only county in our area right now that has temperatures in the upper 70s and near 80 degrees. The rest of us not out of the woods by any means with temperatures in the 60s with this kind of air mass, but you certainly are more vulnerable there in Greenwood County near 80 degrees. This activity back toward Rome and parts of Metro Atlanta, this strong supercell right here is one to watch. This could possibly be a long track tornado that has moved through Alabama. Now it's sitting east of or north of Cartersville, south of Adairsville, near Woodstock and Metro Atlanta northbound along the I-75 corridor. This is pushing off toward the east. Now, Cedric's plotting it here because, this is heading due east. So it's one to watch. It's one of those long track supercells that very well could keep a warning with it state by state by state. So as it continues here, it's going to be moving toward the north and east. We saw this in several of our outbreaks before where a tornado warned cell in Alabama can keep its structure and be tornado warned in western North Carolina. And that's certainly a concern we have out of this line right here. And then back toward Union County. This warning goes until 5:30, I believe, here. The most volatile part of the storm does now appear to be approaching the I-77 corridor near Chester. So I'm going to give you kind of a brief overview of kind of where we sit right now. This warning goes until 5:45 for Chester. Then we're going to check in with the news folks, Gabrielle and Carol at the news desk, kind of giving us an update of what's going on. So let's give you a big picture look at where we stand right now. We've got the rain. We've got the strong storms that have set up shop across the area. This is on a warm frontal boundary that has moved north across our area today. And over the past 2.5, 3 hours, we've seen conditions get a lot more unstable than they previously had before. So watching that closely, a possible tornado here out of Union County now sits over Chester County. So if you have friends or family in Chester County, that same cell that was over our area now sits over Chester County. That possible tornado is approaching the I-77 corridor. Very heavy rainfall up toward York County, Lake Wiley, up toward Metro Charlotte, and then Gaffney, you were under some warnings. We had school dismissals delayed, school buses all over the place, making for a very frantic afternoon. I'm a dad myself. I mean, I can't imagine the amount of stress many of you have been under this afternoon, wondering where your loved one is, your child, your grandchild. We're going to get you through this storm here minute by minute as our technology kind of allows us to kind of pinpoint where the most dangerous storms are. And I got to tell you, folks, we're not out of the woods, okay? Just because the warnings are starting to expire across our area, we've got a very volatile air mass that basically is parking itself right over our area. It's that time of the year here that we need to watch this activity. And right here along that warm frontal, we've got kind of a train of some storms that are rolling on through that are giving us the risk for some strong storms. And then back toward the west, Metro Atlanta, we've got a long track tornado warning that has moved basically out of Alabama and Birmingham, and it's been on the ground for hours. It's now north of Metro Atlanta. Looks like it's going to miss Metro Atlanta, thankfully, right here at the heart of rush hour. But nonetheless, a very severe storm moving up toward the north and east. If it continues on its same path, basically on a trajectory right that, it would move into northeast Georgia here within the next hour and a half to 2 hours and approaching our area by 6, 7, or 8 o'clock at the latest. This activity back toward Birmingham, all part of this very dangerous situation. This area from basically Nashville south toward Montgomery in an extreme risk for severe weather, including tornadoes. That's where you'll find the active tornado watch boxes. This out ahead of the actual front that's going to be moving through. When you look at the severe risks here, that is an extreme. You see the hatch marks areas there. That was an extreme risk, a significant risk for long track dangerous tornadoes, and the tornado threat extends right there. Now notice our area, a slight uptick in that activity. The high risk, you know, we were under this last year, the Easter Seneca tornado, the Pumpkin Town tornado. We were in that again for the Greenville tornado, but right now that risk, at least the latest one from the Storm Prediction Center, does touch parts of western North Carolina, does touch parts of North Georgia. We're in the medium risk for tornadoes into the overnight hours for Pickens and Walhalla northbound through Asheville and Hendersonville. A lower but not zero risk across the entire upstate. We'll probably see a revision of this as the Storm Prediction Center kind of looks at this as we see the conditions that are undergoing right now, because we do see some storm fuel that's basically parked itself along the I-85 corridor in a very similar situation. You hear us mention the I-85 corridor during the wintertime, during severe weather season. It's a boundary. It's where the elevation starts to go up. That's where warmer air likes to pool up in the winter and in the severe weather season. That's where we often find our boundaries that separate the warmer and colder air. And, you know, just this time last year, Cedric and I were watching these storms for 7.5, 8 hours, set up shop across the area. Just last week, we were watching those storms that rolled on through the area, a very similar low pressure system that is giving us this threat tonight. Watching this sail back toward Metro Atlanta. The tornado ingredients here combine the storm fuel as well as the wind energy with these cells. So as we look closer at that, that is basically, I mean, off the charts. I mean, this is a very dangerous situation back toward Alabama and will be for several hours now. And that dangerous air mass stretching into Metro Atlanta. So it looks like the greatest threat lies right here along the I-85 corridor, the I-20 corridor, stretching back toward the west in here. And these areas, the most dangerous indicated by our ingredients right here. So we're watching that very, very closely here. Guys, give me a heads up whenever we can check in with the news folks. I'm seeing this activity back toward the west as we're looking closer at live Super Doppler 4 HD here in Walhalla and Oconee County and Pickens County, Greenville County, indicating here, this gives us an early look at where some rotation could be setting up. We are in the clear for no tornado warnings for our area right now, but I'm telling you right here, folks, we need to watch these closely over the next couple of hours. 1, 2, 3, 4 areas that are actively rotating right now. Nothing really jumps out to us right now of some immediate threats, but that lies back toward the west as we've got an active area that is very volatile with wind energy, and that's in Metro Atlanta right now. And just like any storm, anything that comes out of the I-85 corridor from Metro Atlanta toward our area is an extreme threat, and one that we need to take seriously here across the I-75 corridor, points north and eastbound. And this activity is going to roll on through, and you notice these little cells, the brighter reds and yellows and orange is indicating that we have the stronger air mass that could support these storms, and it's riding right along a boundary here, a warm frontal boundary that has set up shop across the area here. And as that line moves in tonight, though we have cooler temperatures in the mountains, a lot of times when you have a lot of one ingredient of severe weather, in this case the wind energy, it doesn't matter that you have a little bit of storm fuel, because that can kind of overcome it, and that can give us that threat for some severe weather as we look on through the area here. And this area, especially right in here, indicating that we could have the potential here in North Georgia, especially with this activity moving on through back toward North Georgia as the conditions are there. And we've been looking at that tornado ingredient environment back here, kind of the greatest overlap. We look for the overlap of that, the wind energy combined with the storm fuel. It's this area here, as Cedric plots it, back toward Metro Atlanta, that could certainly ramp up across our area and give us the threat for more tornadoes. Would not at all be surprised to see a tornado watch of some sort put in place for northeast Georgia, parts of the upstate, because as you can see here, the tornado ingredients are growing. The gray color, the white color would indicate some degree of tornado ingredients, but folks, the greatest risk and the greatest ingredients are still back toward the west, and they're growing into our area. You already see it in Toccoa, Stevens County, Hart County. Watching this closely here, is this area could be under some type of a watch in the coming hours here, as we're watching this area very, very closely here as the greatest overlap of storm fuel and wind energy sets up shop here. So very likely that we'll see a tornado watch come down within the next few minutes or next half hour for these areas, as the Storm Prediction Center, a division of NOAA, issues those type of watches across the area. And it's a situation that we're on top of here, because the ingredients are coming together here for some very severe weather. So again, no active tornado warnings across our area after a very stormy afternoon, and unfortunately a very stressful time of the day, as many of you are getting out to get your loved ones, your kiddos, your grandkids at school, daycares, after school activities. You're trying to get home from work, and you get these warnings. I know what a stressful situation it can be, but Perella, Cedric, and myself, we are going to map this out for you minute by minute all the way into the overnight hours as this threat continues across our area. Right now, we're watching the cell out of Walhalla. Again, a live Super Doppler 4 HD, not indicating that we have immediate threats for rotation or severe weather, but this is where it starts. Honestly, in Salem, you got a storm that's growing in intensity. It's a vulnerable cell that's kind of off by itself. It wouldn't all surprise me that this starts to strengthen here, and seeing some broad level rotation. Again, live Super Doppler 4 HD picking up on that early rotation in the mid layers of the atmosphere. It's one of those situations where you don't have the ground rotation. Doesn't come down, but that's where it starts. And this cell is growing, unfortunately. So we're going to put you on alert. Hey, just know that we're watching it here for you folks in Oconee County and Pickens County and Greenville County. We're going to alert you the second anything turns severe or begins in those areas. So we are going to watch this closely as it moves into these areas. But a bigger picture here, we've got tornado watches back toward the west, an active tornado warning. This is the one we tracked out of Lawrence County into Union County, now sits over the I-77 corridor, and a dangerous situation unfolding across the area that we're going to map out minute by minute. We're going to send it over to WYFF News 4, and we're going to start the 5 o'clock broadcast right now.
Live, local, breaking news. This is WYFF News 4 at 5.
All right, as we get underway here, breaking weather news, continuing coverage. We're going to get you right to Chief Meteorologist Chris Justice. And Chris, a few tornado warnings today, and we are certainly not out of the proverbial woods yet.
Certainly not. One of those situations you want to be weather aware through the evening hours here. This situation getting, honestly, a lot more unstable, a lot more volatile as the day is unfolding. That warm front lifted north. We've got a few breaks in the clouds. That allowed us to get into the 80s in many areas. And that's the one ingredient that we were hoping would kind of stay kind of in check today, is that we would have more stable air. We still have some more stable air in North Carolina, but that is quickly unchanging as this system back toward the west, a lot of the energy with it is kind of shifting east to the most volatile areas here. We've got this activity in Atlanta back toward North Georgia that is quite volatile. A very strong area of wind energy here that will need to be watched closely, because we've seen, in fact, numerous supercell type storms develop back toward Alabama, and there have been warnings on these cells stretching state by state. In fact, there's one in Metro Atlanta that's been on the ground for a couple of hours now. In our area, we're watching a developing storm in Oconee County. This one is getting stronger. It would not surprise me if this does start to strengthen. The second that it does, you can bet we're going to be letting you know that it is strengthening. Two areas here of focus on live Super Doppler 4 HD. Our technology giving us that early warning that some rotation is indicating. The brighter color of orange here indicating this is a little bit stronger of rotation. And you can see that here across Rosman, south of Brevard. It's still in the mid layers of the atmosphere, so not enough to prompt a warning yet. But I'm telling you, in Transylvania County and Henderson County, again in northern Greenville County, we need to be on guard with this cell. And then this one in Oconee County, we need to watch this one closely as well. It's got some rotation in the middle layers of the atmosphere, and this is where those storms started earlier and how they started. A storm grows in intensity and begins to rotate. Salem, Pickens, Travelers Rest, and Taylors. This is a strong storm with lightning and heavy rain that's moving your way over the next hour to an hour and a half, and it does have a lot of lightning associated with it. So basically, these storms start, and once they climb to a certain height, they're able to tap into that wind energy, and once it reaches that height, it can begin to rotate. So we're going to watch that threat very, very closely here as we pull out just a bit. The tornado warning cell that we watched go through parts of Anderson, Lawrence, had some damage reports in the Wattsville community of Lawrence, move into Union Union County very possibly touched down a tornado in Union. I haven't seen as bright of a reflectivity or as strong of rotations we saw there in Union as we had all day. And again, the strong storm that moved through northern Greenville, northern Pickens, Spartanburg, and Cherokee County, that is now along the I-77 corridor as well. I'll be back in just a few minutes to update you on the conditions. We'll send it back to you.
Great work, Chris. We're glad you're watching. Let's get you to Travelers Rest now. As we mentioned earlier, Greenville County under a tornado warning earlier today. That warning did cause some of the schools to shelter in place. Renee Wunderlich is live at Travelers Rest High School. Renee, how's it look right there right now?
Well, the good news is right now only a little bit of a drizzle. Practically all of the students and parents and most of the staff are either home or on their way home. Greenville County Schools giving the all clear for dismissal at 4:20 this afternoon after that tornado warning had expired. But earlier, a bit of a tense moment across the district, the biggest school district in the state of South Carolina, I should point out. And it kind of went north to south. Northern schools like Travelers Rest High School here in northern part of Greenville County, well, they had to shelter in place. I just spoke with Tim Waller, who's the spokesperson for Greenville County Schools. He said it looked a little different depending on if you had elementary, middle school, or high schoolers. Some of the elementary school students were already on buses. Those buses had to pull off to a safe location, shelter in place, which is protocol. Certain middle school students might have been loading onto buses. They had to shelter in place, or they had to go back into schools. And of course, high school dismissal had to be backed up. They had to shelter in place into school buildings, or if high school students had driven themselves, they had to shelter either in their vehicles if they drove, or if they were waiting for a ride, they had to safely shelter in place inside a school building. It looked a little different depending on where you were, but the main takeaway is the protocol worked. In fact, students trained just a couple days ago across the state about tornado safety, what to expect, and that's exactly what they got to practice today. We'll have more details later at 6 and 11, but for now, live in Greenville County, Renee Wunderlich, WYFF News 4.
Renee, thank you very much for that update from Greenville County. We want to bring you now to Anderson County. Many people were sheltering in place there while the county was under a tornado warning. Our crews in the area were also seeking shelter at that time. We want to get you out now live to our Alan Devlin. Alan, how are you doing tonight?
Yeah, I'm doing great now, but just like you said, yeah, we did have to shelter in place about an hour ago. We were here in downtown in the Anderson Bureau as some thick clouds rolled in. But right now, you can take a look out here. Thankfully, things have cleared up. There's a few blue skies in the area. You can kind of look up and see them. There's still some heavy clouds, but no more rain, of course. But earlier on, take a look at this video. This is what we were dealing with here in Anderson. We had heavy rainfall paired with tornado sirens and dark clouds that rolled through and quickly blanketed the area. There was that shelter-in-place orders were sent down, which affected Anderson 5's high school dismissal, with students staying inside the school at the time. This was pretty much county-wide across all 5 districts, all of the high schools which were supposed to be dismissing. Those students had to sit in place along with the rest of the county. Now, those orders, of course, since have been lifted, so things are a little bit different now. Thankfully, however, that rain passed through pretty quickly. As you can see, we're standing here with no rainfall right now, and the county is reporting very little damage, only a few power lines down here and there, no significant damage, no trees down, and we're hearing that similar report from across the counties here in the west side of the upstate and moving into Georgia. No significant damage, no significant injuries for now, of course. And again, I want to give you another look out here in Anderson. We're looking a lot better. No significant rainfall anymore. It hasn't actually rained for about 30 minutes here, but of course, we're going to keep our eyes on everything here in Anderson County and across the upstate. We'll be right back on WYFF News 4 with continued coverage of this weather as it continues to move through right after this message.
The savings are in the air during the early spring